Here's a look at Marvin Lewis, the 10th-year head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. Took his team to the playoffs a season ago at 9-7. And here's Pat Shurmur now in his second season as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He came from St. Louis, where he was an offensive coordinator. Before that, Philadelphia with Andy Reid. Cleveland won the toss. They have deferred. Cincinnati will receive. So kicking off for the Cleveland Browns will be Phil Dawson, who has been terrific in field goals this year. Both kickers today dealing with a lot of wind. Brandon Tate is deep back for that Cincinnati offense, which comes into today number 15. It's the Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals, and away we go on the banks of Lake Erie. Tate, the ex-New England Patriot, will bring it out for Cincinnati. Banged initially and taken up. Badamasi was right there, bringing him down. A 23-yard return. Quarterback Andy Dalton is the 12th-rated quarterback in the NFL, and as we mentioned before, he is 3-0 as a starter against the Browns.
Today he's got to improve the offensive game plan in terms of how they convert on third down, an area where they really have struggled. You talk to Andy Dalton, he says they have to be better on first and second down to create third and short in order to improve overall.
That's huge. The running game has been struggling, as we talked about. Here's a 1st and 10 with Ben Jarvis. Green Ellis in the backfield, and he gets the call. Good stick to Quell Jackson right there. It's a gain of a yard, and they'll put him at about the 17-yard line. And we'll finish off the Cincinnati offense. The right guard is Zeitler, one of the highest-rated rookies so far in the NFL, and the Pro Bowl receiver, A.J. Green, as we mentioned, is number 5 in receiving yards. He's caught a touchdown, Solomon, in 4 consecutive games.
Well, he demands your attention, and you better double cover him because he'll win against one-on-one every time.
2nd down and 9, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. And the tackle made by Sheard, who chases him down up to about the 24. That's a gain of 6 on the play. This saw Sheard make the stop. He's had a disappointing start for this season. He had 8 sacks last year as a rookie. They're going to put 2 rookies there in the middle. Wynn and Hughes. Ataba Rubin will not play today. He is injured. The linebacker we mentioned before, DeQuell Jackson. James Michael Johnson replacing the usual starters. Scott Fujita at that other linebacker position. And the Browns welcome back Joe Hayden. Suspended the last 4 games, back and ready to go. 3rd down and 3, and a look at Hayden. And a fake right there to Leonard. That ball was deflected. Sheard got in the way of the pass. It is incomplete. And they look that time to be going for Charles, the tight end. So a punt coming up on the first possession, 3 and out for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Kevin, the Bengals had what they wanted. They had a 3rd and 3 opportunity. It should be easily converted. They get Dalton out on the perimeter, but Sheard disrupts the play by batting down the pass from Andy Dalton.
The punt will come from Kevin Huber. The wind is blowing, as we saw before, over 20 miles an hour. And it is going about 18 different directions inside this stadium. But Huber gets this one off, and Cribbs will watch it hit out of bounds about the 15-yard line, close to it. And the winless Browns at 0-5 and coming off a 4-12 season a year ago will take over. 62-yard punt. And this takes us to the quarterback, rookie Brandon Whedon, threw for 322 the first time he met this Cincinnati team back on September 16th.
But he wants to cut down on the 9 interceptions. He feels that less ego will allow him to do that and use the check downs, throw the ball away, and not be so forceful when the play isn't there.
You and I watched him in practice on Friday. He has got a rocket for an arm.
Oh, he can sling it, and it'll cut through this wind blowing around this stadium today.
On the 14, the fake to Richardson, and then the subsequent pass to Trent Richardson, who was hit by Perfect and knocked out of bounds. Malaluga was there as well. That is a gain of 5 on 1st down. Let's finish off now the offense. They got the 5-time Pro Bowler, left tackle Joe Thomas, leading that offensive line. The rookie Schwartz at the right tackle. Dunlop will be zeroing in on him. And the running back is Trent Richardson. We've talked about him. Tied for 2nd in the NFL with 30 points scored among non-kickers. He's 2nd down and 5 from the 19-yard line. Again, 2nd down. Richardson. Oh, and he got a nice block on the side here by Little, and finally he is belted by Nelson. That is a catch and run at 12 and a 1st down. We look at Geno Atkins on the defensive line. One of the best pass rushers in the NFL, playing a defensive interior line position. Grading high every week. Bengal head coach Marvin Lewis told us last night that undrafted rookie Vontaze Burfict is the Bengals' most talented player. High praise. And Leon Hall leads an experienced secondary. So they get 12 right there from Richardson. They get a first down to the 31. And Trent Richardson right there running into the grasp of Gathers on the line and a loss of a yard. They'll push him back to the 30.
So you can see the Cleveland Browns offensively, they want to allow Richardson to control this ball game, to help out his rookie quarterback. And, you know, he has earned the respect of every team that he faces. He really was very good last week against the New York Giants. The defense couldn't tackle him. And this Cincinnati Bengals defense understands, because Richardson had his first 100-yard game week 2 against the same Bengals defense.
Weeden with a couple tight ends on second down and 11. Richardson getting a MAC block and then held on to by Reggie Nelson. That is a gain of 4. He'll work his way up to the 34-yard line.
How about that? The first 4 offensive plays for the Cleveland Browns. The ball goes to Trent Richardson. 2 pass plays where he caught the ball coming out of the backfield, and then 2 run plays. You're going to see him come off here. He is their leading rusher. He's their leading receiver, Kevin. And there's his running back coach, Gary Brown, who played in the National Football League himself. But Richardson is a playmaker and very difficult to tackle in space.
There's Obanaya will be in the backfield now. The third down back, third down and 7. Extra defensive back in there now for Cincinnati. Obanaya gives a block for Weeden, which offers him time, and a beautiful catch with a great throw. Downfield, that is the guy that he used to hook up with down at Oklahoma State, Josh Cooper. Just signed off the practice squad, 28-yard pickup.
Terrence Newman is in coverage, and you talked about Cooper playing with his quarterback, Brandon Weeden, at Oklahoma State. What did Weeden tell us about Cooper as he's just been activated, moved up to the roster? He said that he was easier to throw to than Justin Blackman, who was the Biletnikoff Award winner 2 consecutive years, so he has a great feel with a young receiver.
Terrific pickup, you're right. They go to the 38 with the big green. It's first down and 10. Up the middle comes Pecco, and that really disrupts that pass right there of Weeden. Nice pressure up the middle. I think we talked about this before, that the Bengals are tied for the NFL lead, Solomon, with 18 sacks already.
Well, as you saw, Pecco coming in on the pressure, that's exactly what the Bengals do a wonderful job of doing. You mentioned tied with the Chicago Bears for 18 sacks so far this season. And they've had a number of sacks over the last few years. They rank near the top of teams being able to put pressure on the quarterback. Hasn't resulted into interceptions on the back end of this defense.
Way back, Marisic is in, second down and 10. Richardson with the Marisic block, and then they hold on for dear life. And the rookie out of Penn State, Devin Still, comes in to make the stop, allowing just a gain of a yard to the 37.
Bengals do a really good job of cutting this off play side, and then watch how they cut off the backside as well. They don't allow Richardson to cut back. As you see, they're knifing in. All 11 understand you have to get to Richardson early. He can make you miss in the hole. He knows how to be very elusive, strong lower body, and excellent balance. The Bengals are bringing all 11 to the ball, and you cannot relax on him for one play. Now on third down, let's see if Weeden can make plays like his coach wants him to.
We're not a very good third down team, only 27%. Third and 9, 8th play of the drive. Obanaya, there's a block by Cribbs, and a first down catch and run. Johnson was in there. They had Burfict in there. It's a gain of 10 on third and 9. A first down for Cleveland to the 27.
Bengals have to understand the Cleveland Browns will throw it to their running backs. Richardson is their leading receiver. Obanaya, another running back, he's their second leading receiver. So we saw Cooper catch one at the wide receiver position, but it's the running backs that they're going to use in the passing game to fuel this offense. As you can see, 3 catches so far by the running backs for 27 yards.
It's a nice graphic. They've gone 12 yards on a catch and run to Richardson. Cooper caught one for 28. Obanaya caught one right there for 10. First and 10. Hardesty is in. And that is batted down and intercepted and picked off on the play by Johnson. Tackled by Thomas. A pick right there, again in the quarterback's grill, and our first turnover today.
It was Michael Johnson who told us they have to bat more balls at the line of scrimmage today to create interceptions. Here you see that ball batted by Geno Atkins, intercepted by Johnson.
Whedon leads the NFL now with 10 interceptions. Michael Johnson getting that deflected pass of Whedon off the outstretched palm of Atkins. A turnover, 8 interception. Now back to the Bengals. 1st and 10. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis was slowed up on the play by rookie Billy Wynn, number 90, the rookie out of Boise State, limiting him to a gain of 3 to the 40.
Kevin, first I want to go back to Brandon Whedon because Pat Shurmur, the head coach, talked to the quarterback coach, Mark Whipple, and asked, is Whedon ready to go out and win a ball game? At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to for the Cleveland Browns, who've been competitive so far this year. They haven't found a way to win a game today. They're going to ask their quarterback, Brandon Whedon, to go out and win it.
Runs in the nickel, 2nd down and 7. Blocked by Andre Smith, the right tackle. Hawkins has it, quickly hit by Sheldon Brown and driven back. One more note on batted balls. That's a gain of 5. They put him to the 44. Andy Dalton last year had 15 balls batted down at the line. That tied for number 1 in the NFL with Sanchez. So Dalton knows all about what Whedon's going through on that batted down ball.
And the defense knows. The defensive lineman for the Cincinnati Bengals, Michael Johnson, told us himself when we talked to him last night that we want to bat down balls that frustrate quarterbacks. If we can get our hands on some balls, and more than anything, it'll help to create some turnovers. We've already seen evidence of that.
Tight end Gresham atop your screen. He's got a linebacker guarding him. 3rd and a long 2. Caught for the 1st down. They were working on the linebacker. Here comes Gresham. Galloping free. The chase to the 5. Hit by Hayden, and that is a Bengal touchdown. A 55-yard touchdown strike. And Gresham with a terrific play.
Wow. And the Bengals already have 4 wide receivers who have produced touchdowns of 40 yards or more. And now the tight end, Jermaine Gresham, gets in on the act. It's just a quick slant route. Poor angle by the safety, T.J. Ward, out of position. And then you can see Osama Young has a poor angle. He stiff arms DeQuell Jackson to take this one in for a touchdown. Just an incredible run. Actually, it was Robertson who got the stiff arm, number 53. Great catch and run by Jermaine Gresham, proving that it's just so many weapons in this Bengals offense. It's going to be difficult to stop them.
Gresham is off to one of the best starts of his young career. He's had 5 receptions in each of the last 3 games. He just lassos his 2nd touchdown catch of the year. Nugent will try to tack on one more, and the Bengals on top 7-0. 7:07 in the 1st. Touchdown pass, a great catch and run by Jermaine Gresham out of Oklahoma, and the Bengals strike first.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Charles Schwab. Let's talk about giving your portfolio a better chance to grow. Talk to Chuck. And by Toyota Care. Caring for you and your car.
Well, that was all set up as Gresham caught that ball and raced 55 yards. Bengals have had some nice long balls this year. That might be one of the big differences, really, in Andy Dalton this year to last. The long ball is really hitting for him, and his mobility, his comfort level, the footwork in the pocket, very evident.
And he's been very good in the 4th quarter. If you were to talk to the coaches for the Cincinnati Bengals, the one area where Andy Dalton can improve, it's on 3rd down conversions. If he can improve in that area, boy, this offense will go to an entirely different level.
Interception by Michael Johnson on the deflected pass by Whedon, and Geno Atkins got it. Atkins is so disruptive on that defensive line for the Bengals.
Yes, he is.
So Gresham gets the career-long catch in the ensuing kickoff, and they've got Cribbs awaiting it on the fly, a couple yards deep, and here we go. Hit initially and was hit first by Taylor Mays, 19-yard return. The deflected pass by Atkins. And then they go the other way. And the tight end, Jermaine Gresham, to the house. And the Bengals by 7.
As we return, we take a look at the touchdown pass to Jermaine Gresham. Watch the safety, T.J. Ward. He's got to do a better job of reading the combination route the slant by Gresham, the back out. So if he goes out, he's got to know that he can come down and intercept this pass, but he takes a poor angle, takes himself out of the play, and then when Gresham makes the catch, Osama Young overruns it. A stiff arm on Craig Robertson frees up Gresham to sail 55 yards for the touchdown. He made some plays, but the defense really broke down in coverage.
Stills on the defensive line here for the Bengals on 1st and 10 for Cleveland, and Wallace Gilberry, who was signed a couple weeks ago, is there on the stop with a couple others. It's a gain of 7 on the play to the 23.
And we talked about the plays of over 40 yards made by A.J. Green. Andrew Hawkins, Gresham joins Benz and Tate as 5 guys on the offense who have made the big plays of the 40-yard variety for a touchdown. Dalton's got plenty of weapons. And we talked to him yesterday, Kevin. We said that these are young players who have yet to enter their prime. They're still young and growing together.
It's 2nd down and 3 for Richardson out of Alabama. Reggie Nelson was in there, but you see Maualuga and others, the Avalanche of Bengal defenders. It is a gain of 2, and he's up to the 25 as we just saw Dalton's 10th touchdown pass of the season.
You know, last week, Cleveland Browns played the New York Giants. They jumped out to a 7-10 lead. Then they allowed the New York Giants to score 17 points over a 3-minute stretch at the end of the first half. And what did Pat Shurmur tell us? He said, we have to be able to weather that 3-minute storm. We're going to have some adversity in games. We're such a young football team, but we have to be able to bounce back. I would say this is one of those moments. A Whedon interception, a Gresham touchdown. Now they've got to bounce back.
3rd down and 1. Dunlap is in. Good block again by Little. That gives room for Richardson, who takes the ball to the 32 and picks up 7 and gets a 1st down. They run this Richardson a lot, and that time he was on the move. They also had O'Neal Cousins in there as an extra offensive lineman. And get live score updates for all your favorite teams with the new CBS Sportcaster app available on selected devices. Visit cbssports.com/mobile or text SCORE to 42777 to get your free app. Richardson already has carried it 6 times.
All right, I would give it to him even more.
Well, here's number 7. You want it, you got it. It's a handoff and not much there. You see it once again where they are ganging up on him, but a gain of 3 nonetheless. Maualuga and others making the stop. He's near the 35.
And the reason why you continue to give it to Trent Richardson, he is that rare kind of runner who can carry it 30 times a game. And the more he carries it, the better he gets. And the weaker the defense becomes because they wear down tackling such a tough, rugged, and ready running back. He told us last week against the Giants he could see in the eyes of the defensive backs that they did not want to continue to tackle him the more he carried the football.
2-time national champion down with Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa. 2nd down and 7 with a couple of tight ends. Good block by Thomas out of the reach of Little, and the coverage on the play by Terrence Newman, the 2-time Pro Bowler out of Kansas State. Now it is 3rd and 7. 3rd and long coming up again.
Oh, this is what the Bengals want. If you shut down the run, now you force the offense to become one-dimensional. Then you get tight coverage like what you see there on Greg Little, provided by Terrence Newman. Now they force Whedon into a 3rd and 7 situation. The Bengals will try to blitz them. But watch the defensive linemen, Kevin, getting their hands up if they can't get penetration into the backfield to put pressure on Whedon.
Adam Jones becomes the extra defensive back. It is 3rd and 7. Whedon, Obadiah, and a great defensive play. That was by Reggie Nelson, 2nd leading tackler last year in this. It's a loss of 5. Nelson all over it, a former number 1 pick by Jacksonville. And the Browns have got a punt.
Yeah, we showed you on the first possession. They want to really throw it to the running backs out of the backfield. Reggie Nelson knows it. He plays it and reads it, comes up with a swift tackle on Obadiah.
Adam Jones is deep back, and the punt will be Reggie Hodges. Last couple games, he's been averaging 42 net. This one is a wobbly one and short, with the wind probably playing a little bit with it. 5 plays punt. That one sailed 37. Here comes Dalton, fresh off his 55-yard touchdown pass. Bengals on top, 3:33 in the 1st.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Pizza Hut's Big Dinner Box. All your favorites in one epic box. Pizza Hut, make it great. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Kitchen is now on the defensive line for the Cleveland Browns along with Stevens. 1st and 10 after a 5 and punt by the Browns. And Gresham hit on the play by Mayava. Out of bounds. He's up to about the 37, and he picks up on the play for the Bengals. Are coming off a loss to Miami, and Solomon, the first time in 2 seasons they lost to a team that had a losing record.
Yeah, and Marvin Lewis felt like, hey, that was a game that his team should have won. They lost 17-13 at home to the Dolphins. He said the message all week is he went through the guys and said, hey, stop being nice. We're a talented team. It's time to be nasty. It's time to be more physical and go out and dominate football games. And now you see them operating on both sides of the ball, playing well today.
Travis Green-Ellis on 2nd down and 6 into the pile. Kitchen was right there. Also John Hughes. That's a familiar name to Cincinnati fans. Played at the University of Cincinnati. A standout on the line. A 3rd-round pick by Cleveland. It's a gain of 3 to the 40.
Yeah, Marvin Lewis says, hey, we have a bunch of talented guys. We talked about the explosive weapons on offense and Andy Dalton, A.J. Green, and the 2 big defensive ends, and Geno Atkins. He says, you know, we all know we're good players, but now we've got to stop settling for being good. It's time to go out and be great, dominate in football games. He wants them to really dominate and be very physical in this game today.
Uzama Young is the extra defensive back. 3rd down and 3. Gresham just off his fingertips. The coverage by T.J. Ward. Boy, if that had been a little bit better thrown, he would have had it 3 and out. They got a punt.
It was thrown well enough to hit Gresham in the hands. You talk about converting on 3rd down. Look at this throw. Now, why can't you make that catch? Yeah, it's over your head, but your arms allowed you to reach up and grab it. Gresham's got to find the ball, get his head around sooner. He knows the ball is going to come out quick because he's coming out of the backfield releasing on his pass route.
Here comes Hubert to punt, and Cribbs watches it take a good bounce for Cleveland, and down it goes. 37-yard punt. Here comes Brandon Wheaton. Here come the Browns, down 7-zip. 2:02 to play in the first quarter. There was a flag.
Holding. Number 56, receiving team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
They have pink flags today. Not yellow, but pink flags. We'll come back. 2:02 in the first quarter. 55-yard touchdown pass to Gresham. Bengals just punted. Richardson's going to start this particular series on the sideline, and Montario Hardesty, who's been in already, playing in just his 2nd game this season. 1st and 10 from the 13. Hardesty, a former 2nd-round pick who missed his rookie year with an injury. Pecco, among others, there to make the stop. It's a gain of 3. They'll put him at the 16-yard line tomorrow on CBS. 2 broke girls making their dreams come true on an all-new episode of the hit comedy. That's tomorrow. 9 Eastern, 8 Central, only on CBS. 2nd down and 7 to go. I guess that probably is a concern that they use Richardson so much. You got to worry about not using him too much. I know Whedon would like him back there all the time.
Oh, he would love to have him back there.
2nd down and 7. Maurice, the fullback, bobbling and losing the ball. The coverage on the play by the linebacker Scuda.
Well, if you're Brandon Wheaton, they're going to ask you to go out and win games. Well, you need help from the weapons around you, and he's got to be able to make that catch. And, you know, when Shermer asked, hey, is Whedon ready to go out and win ball games? What he's saying is he ready to manage games? Is he able to convert on 3rd down? As you see, 14 drop passes by receivers so far this year, but Whedon's got to protect the football, avoid throwing the critical interceptions, but he's got to be able to make plays in situations like this.
O'Brien is in right now. 3rd down and 7. Into the nickel. Nice catch. 2nd time he has gone to Josh Cooper. Just signed off the practice squad. He picks up 11. Earlier in the game, he connected with him for 28 yards to their 27.
Well, Whedon thoroughly trusts Cooper. And when you see why. They played together at Oklahoma State. They're both rookies. And you can see Cooper is that rare dynamic player that gives a quarterback great comfort level when throwing the football.
Hardesty is in on 1st and 10. Nice tackle made by Geno Atkins. It is a gain of a yard to the 28 as we gain James Brown in New York.
First time this season they've scored on their opening drive. 8 plays, 80 yards. Felix Jones, he cuts it back outside, 22 yards, gets Dallas in the end zone, 7-3, Dallas.
Cowboys have never beaten the Ravens. That's in 3 tries. Back to Kevin Harlan and Solomon Wilcox.
Felix Jones now playing the back of the normal, running back DeMarco Murray. Here's a 2nd and 9, and here comes Hardesty as he wheels up into the grasp of Maualuga. He's up to the 33, and it is a gain of 6 on the play, and that'll probably take us to the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, and what you're seeing now, they're rotating the running backs. You're getting some Hardesty, obviously Trent Richardson, Obaniah. They've got really good running backs, and obviously, look, Gary Brown, he's focusing on the intensity of his runners. Richardson's going to get plenty of work, but you don't want to wear him down. You got a long season. He gives this offense a great physicality and playmaking ability.
Dalton hit Gresham on a 55-yard catch and run touchdown. That's the end of the first. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Starting the second quarter, the Browns, the only winless team left in the NFL. A 3rd and 3. Richardson is back in the contest as a running back next to 29-year-old Brandon Whedon, who's older than 12 other NFL starting quarterbacks. We had everybody moving. We had the rookie right tackle trying to shove away from an oncoming rusher. That was Dante Moak. Whedon's an impressive guy to talk to.
He is very impressive. You ask, is he ready to go out and win games? It's been perfect today on 3rd down. 4-4, creating 3 new first downs, but he's been good on the money down.
False start. Number 73 offense. 5-yard penalty remains. 3rd down.
That's Joe Thomas, your 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle.
And what did Michael Johnson tell us about him? Said he's the best that he's played against all year, and he votes for him every year to go to the Pro Bowl. And Ohio is a swing state, so if you're getting votes in Ohio, you're doing pretty good.
Joe Thomas. And they like their other tackle, too, the rookie Mitchell Schwartz out of Cal. He was a 2nd-round pick. He's allowed a couple of sacks, but they think his future is bright. And there's a lot of consistency on this offensive line. He got a Pro Bowl center a couple years ago in Mack, 3rd and 8. In the nickel with Jones is Cincinnati. Whedon going deep. He's got Gordon. What a catch! All the way for a touchdown.
We told you in the open that the rookie trio on offense, Whedon, Richardson, and Josh Gordon, are capable of creating big-time plays. And here you see him coming clear from one side, and watch the safety. There's Nelson. You've got to turn and spin and run sooner. And look at the extension by Gordon. First the speed to close on that ball. Beautifully thrown by Brandon Wheaton. Great protection, good throw in the pocket from Whedon, and then the speed of Gordon to torch the secondary to put 7 on the board for Cleveland.
He's taking a supplemental draft. He's a rookie out of Baylor. He played with RG3. Here's another point by Dawson. Josh Gordon has caught 10 passes. He caught 2 touchdowns last week against the Giants for 62 and 20. This one lassoing it for 71 yards. That ties the game in Cleveland.
That's not where the coverage broke down.
Coverage did break down. Gordon making a touchdown reception there of 71 yards.
Gordon capable of making the big plays. Can Whedon win a game? Boy, with that kind of throw, I would say yes. Remember, he had over 300 yards passing, Kevin, week 2 against this Bengals defense.
And a couple of touchdowns, and the wind blowing so hard it takes the ball right off the tee. Mike Holmgren is the one to draft Gordon. Like we said, he came in the supplemental round, and the reason why it was available is he had kind of an uneven past. He was at Utah. He transferred to Baylor. They knocked him off. He was kicked off the 2 teams. He had tested positive for marijuana a handful of times, 3 times, and so he was available. The Browns take a chance on him, and boy, has he paid dividends the last 2 games. The ensuing kickoff by Dawson, and this is Brandon Tate. Nice tackle. That was a beauty and a good tackle on the play. That was a 22-yard return. Johnson Bodamosi.
Take a look at the touchdown. Zone coverage, so the safety has to stay deep. As the deep is, here's Gordon, who's going to be passed off. And if you are Nelson, the safety, you've got to stay deep as the deep is. Now freeze it here. Look at the protection right there in front of the quarterback, Wheaton. He's protected. He has a clear vision down the field, throws it over the top of the defense, past Nelson to Gordon, and it was Nelson who has to stay very deep to make a play on the ball. If you're free safety, you cannot allow the ball to get behind you.
It's interesting you mentioned the offensive line. It did not allow a sack against that very good pass-rushing New York Giant defensive line last week. First down and 10. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. And at the bottom there, you see a little tackle made by Usama Young. Also in there was James Michael Johnson. It is a gain of 6. He's up to the 24.
Well, we got ourselves a ball game. Remember, this is a very young group. The Cleveland Browns are the youngest team in the National Football League. You get the sense that they're starting to build some confidence, Kevin. They made some plays against a New York Giant defending Super Bowl team last week. They allowed that game to get away. And Coach Shermer said we're getting very close to being successful. We do need to win a game to confirm that the process is working here in Cleveland.
Browns in the nickel, second down and 4. See the flag. A.J. Green hit by Robertson, defended on the play by Brown. Gain of 5 as it stands right now. The game to about the 29, and good for a first down.
Illegal shift. Number 14 and number 18 moving prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty remains, second down.
First penalty on the Bengals.
Yeah, 2 wide receivers moving at the same time, or I should say Dalton and A.J. Green. Of course, the quarterback can move. He's doing some things, trying to send people in motion. But the wide receivers, you have to be able to hold your water. If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, avoid the penalties, settle down the offense. It's Andy Dalton's job to do that and begin to make some plays.
Young is the 5th defensive back for the Browns. Second down and 9. Here comes Sheard. There goes Ben Jarvis. Green Ellis upended on the play by Buster Screen, who struggled last week against the Giants. That's a gain of 7, and we'll spot him at about the 27.
Well, Sheard is getting pressure coming off that left side. And then Dalton has to get rid of it, dump it off to Ben Jarvis, who does a really good job getting vertical, trying to find that first down marker. And look at him protect the football, Kevin, after he's fumbled in their last 3 ball games. Sheard doing a much better job of putting pressure on the quarterback there.
Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis taking the place of Cedric Benson, who went to Green Bay after 3 successive 1,000-yard seasons, a 3rd and 2. And there's a gain of a couple on the play as they try to work their ball up to the 30, and they've got a first down.
I love what Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis told us when we talked to him about fumbling over the last 3 weeks. Remember, he had gone 589 touches without a fumble. It's the best any player in the National Football League has had to begin a career. 5 seasons without putting the ball on the ground and then fumbling in his last 3 ball games. He says, I have to focus on high and tight and protecting the ball against his body and not trying to do too much with it.
Cedric Pierman is in. They lost Bernard Scott last week. There's a block by Whitworth and a tackle at least partially by Jaquay Parker. On that line, DeQuell Jackson is on there as well. Gain of 6. They're up to about the 35-yard line. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Join JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowell for the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report from our CBS studios in New York. And now it will be second down and 3. Losing Scott Hurt, but as Marvin told us last night, we really didn't have Scott for a lot of this season because he was already injured.
You can't rely on someone who really hasn't been there.
Blocked by Pierman and Whitworth, and the flag is thrown. The racing Dalton to about the 38 and chased out of bounds.
Holding. Number 77 offense. 10-yard penalty remains, second down.
Whitworth.
Good eye, Kevin. And Andrew Whitworth, he's a good player, but he's trying to protect his quarterback, and you're going to see, he's going to grab right there. Look at that. That's called holding. It's like a bear hug more than anything.
And Parker, who was held, was a guy that was so good on the previous play. Look at Whitworth, who, if he's not a Pro Bowl caliber guy right now, he's right on the doorstep of being a Pro Bowl.
I believe so. He has a problem of playing in the same division and at the same position as Joe Thomas.
4 sent wide. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis is back in. 2nd down and 13. Browns with 5 in the secondary. And that is brought in. A.J. Green, they had screen right there, and Joe Hayden was right there. The gain is to the 32. He picks up 6. That's the first catch for Green.
Buster Screen, number 22, nearly intercepts this pass. A.J. Green so good at coming back to the ball. I think that ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage, which gave Buster Screen, just see how it wobbles there? That tells you it was tipped a little bit. 22 Screen nearly intercepted it if A.J. Green doesn't come back to possess the ball. Great catch.
Still the nickel. Leonard is in. 3rd down and 7. Bowling with the block. Now they get through. There's a little shuffle pass. It's caught by Leonard. He's up to the 35 and shy of the first down. Robertson was there among a couple to make the stop. It's a gain of 3. And the Bengals, a very poor 3rd down team. In fact, dead last in the NFL, have got a punt.
Well, the protection breaks down. You can see they pinch and squeeze the pocket. Dalton's got to move his feet. Now he's got to get rid of it. Little shovel pass to Leonard. But then they rally and tackle. That's something this Cleveland Brown defense, remember, they were a top 10 defense just 1 year ago. And while they've struggled as of late, they're capable of playing better.
Huber with very little rush put on. Cribbs let this sail over his head and into the end zone for the touchback. And Cleveland will get it back when we come back. 65-yard punt. The Browns moments ago got a 71-yard touchdown pass from Whedon. We're tied at 7 early in the second quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Audi. Truth in engineering. The Samsung Galaxy S3. The next big thing is already here. And by Bridgestone. Our passion for performance knows no bounds. Bridgestone, official tire of the NFL.
As we return to Cleveland, take a look at some of the most memorable running backs. How about Jim Brown, 9th in NFL history with over 12,000 yards. He's still the gold standard. Leroy Kelly, 2nd in franchise history of more than 7,000 yards. And Greg Pruitt, 3 consecutive seasons over 1,000 yards. Ernest Biner and Kevin Mack each rushed for 1,000 yards during the 1985 season. There's a long tradition of great running backs here in Cleveland. Trent Richardson, well, I think he's next man up, Kevin. Boy, they drafted a doozy with the 3rd overall pick in the 2012 draft.
Well, you know, there's a lot of history to this franchise. They used to be in the All-America Football Conference. Paul Brown is the one to lead them to those championships in the 50s. We've always said when this team wins, it is a sleeping giant. The fan base with the Browns is substantial. 1st down and 10 after the punt, and this is Richardson. Schwartz block and trying to climb over Mack, and there's not much gain. They've got Michael Johnson and Burfict right there. They'll stay at the 20 with a 2nd and 10.
And right now, the Bengals are doing a really good job of bottling up Trent Richardson. 8 carries, 23 yards so far in the game. We're going to get a penalty on that last play.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 55. After this to the goal and the downtown, 2nd down.
That's Mack, their center.
It was Marvin Lewis who wanted his team to play a little more nasty, but there's Mack. And here you see a little bit of Vontaze Burfict putting on an acting move. He's a much stronger player than that. I don't think a shove would knock him off his feet that easily. But
well, like we said in the beginning of the game, Marvin Lewis said he's the most talented player on our Cincinnati roster.
And he's a physical player.
2nd down and 20 with the penalty. Whedon is a block by Laval, and outside they go with Little catching the ball. The tackle made by Terrence Newman. It is a gain of 4. He's up to the 14-yard line.
See the numbers by Whedon already, 136 yards passing in this game. The critical interception that the Bengals were able to convert into a touchdown. We talked about the good job I think the Bengals defense is doing against Trent Richardson, who's running and catching the ball coming out of the backfield. I think you've got to continue to pay attention to Richardson because he will wear you down. At some point in a game, he will rip off a big one.
Isles, the 5th defensive back, 3rd and 16. They need the 30. And Obadiah. And there's a nice tackle. Holding on for dear life was Geno Atkins. Good with his hands. You saw it right there, limiting him to a gain of 6. They got a punt.
Well, we talked about the Cleveland Brown trio of rookies on offense. You see Trent Richardson catching the pass from Brandon Whedon. The rookie quarterback, Richardson, can run it. Josh Gordon can catch it, selling 71 yards for a touchdown. Right now, all 3 rookies on the Cleveland Browns offense making their presence felt in this ball game.
Reggie Hodges, who's played with St. Louis, the Jets, Philadelphia, Tennessee, will boot this one to Tate, who is inside the 35. From the 22, Ventrone is the one to stop him. We've seen guys going back for punts and kickoffs. The wind is playing with the flight of that ball. They seem to be really getting screwed up by what that wind.
Questionable judgment.
Yeah. 6-yard return. Long touchdown passes. Gresham caught one for 55 for the Bengals. The Browns rookie Gordon caught one for 71. Here's a 1st and 10 in this tie game at center. What a catch! A.J. Green going into T.J. Ward. That is a catch of 18 yards. His second grab, a first down to the 47.
Oh, and this ball leaves. I thought it was going to be a little bit high and maybe overshooting the wide receiver. A.J. Green just goes up and plucks it out of midair.
That was some
great
kind
catch. Flypaper hands.
Oh, my goodness. First down and 10. Touchdown pass in 4 consecutive games. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. Brad Jackson was right there along with Jabal Sheard, gain of a yard. Join the NFL and the American Cancer Society in the fight against breast cancer by supporting a Crucial Catch campaign. Visit NFL.com/auction to bid on authentic NFL pink gear worn by players and by coaches. And this means a lot to some of the players out here, like Reggie Nelson. His mom had a 3-year battle with breast cancer, passing away in 06, and he says every time he puts on something pink in this month of October, it reminds him of her, what she meant in his life. 2nd down and 9. You've all been touched by it in some way, shape, or form. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis got away from Wynn. He was brought down Solomon by Robertson. And it's no gain on the play. They'll stay at about the 47.
But the way you defeat the run game is getting the early penetration, as you'll see Wynn, number 90, knifing in. See him? And that forces Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis off course with Craig Robertson, meets him on the other side to get him on the ground.
Robertson was on the practice squad for Cleveland at the end of last season. He's out of North Texas. They love his speed. He covers a lot of territory. He's in there now. 5 in the secondary. 3rd and 9. Flag. Pete Morelli's crew's been busy.
False start. Number 65 offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
You know, if you're Andy Dalton, as they get bowling moving, I thought Dalton could have got the ball snapped a little sooner. He had already saw the defense. The defense didn't move one bit. There was no disguise. He could have had the ball snapped a little bit. It's a lot to ask of your offensive lineman, particularly when you're playing on the road with the crowd noise, to hold their stance for that long. Once the defense declares, you've got to go ahead and have them snap the ball so that you can avoid that penalty.
3rd down and 14 for Dalton. Good block by Smith. Dalton on the move. They need the 43. And the coverage there applied by Hayden. Going on the side. Nothing there for Binns. And the worst 3rd down offense in the NFL has to leave the field again.
Hayden is back after that 4-game suspension you talked about, Kevin. He has given this defense, particularly the secondary, a shot in the arm. Look at that play on the ball. Knifing in front of Binns, nearly coming up with an interception. We've seen that happen a couple of times today. Both he and Buster Screen nearly coming away with one.
Well, you have a cornerback like that, he shuts off a good portion of the field.
Oh, absolutely. You can take one away. You can zone off the rest.
Kevin Huber out of the University of Cincinnati sends this skyward way over the head of Josh Cribbs. We're trying to get a read on the wind, but they say it is a crosswind at times. It's going left to right, then right to left. 57-yard punt. 5-12 in the second quarter from Cleveland.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Volkswagen. It's not the miles, it's how you live them. And by Citi Private Pass. Get more access with a Citi card.
Well, the wind is really kicking up here. We got a nice little interesting story we watched during that break.
Let's just say the wind is wreaking havoc.
It is. There go the flags. But there was a stapled sheet of papers.
On defense. Prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty remains. First down.
There was a stapled sheet of papers that blew from the far side of the field during that break to the near side.
See the paper? Look at that. It's blowing from the Cleveland Browns bench. It blows over to the Cincinnati Bengals bench.
But what's
the Bengals
interesting,
head coach, Marvin Lewis, picks it up. You have to wonder, does it have Cleveland Brown plays on it?
First down and 5 with the penalty. Richardson wrapped up and taken down. Nice penetration on the play and another nice tackle for Stills, the rookie out of Penn State, and a loss of 2.
You go back to week 2, Kevin. Cleveland Browns played a well of a game. This may have been the decisive play, an 81-yard punt return by Adam Jones, because Andy Dalton, he had big plays. The wide receiver all provided big plays, and the Cleveland Browns also had over 300 yards passing in the game, 100 yards rushing for Trent Richardson. The Browns outgained the Bengals in that game and outrushed them and end up losing.
2nd and 6 and a sack coming through. Wallace Gilberry, who was signed earlier this season after being let go by Tampa Bay, played 4 years in Kansas City. It's a loss of 9, back to the 15.
There you see the play, just getting pressure in the face of Brandon Whedon. And you have to wonder, that sheet of paper that blew over from the Cleveland Browns bench to the Cincinnati Bengals, what happened to it?
Well, there was a guy that Marvin Lewis handed it to, and he walked to the trash can, then put it in his back pocket. Then he handed it to somebody else on that sideline. That's going to be an interesting paper trail.
That's espionage of a different kind. I mean, it's not like they went over and heisted the play sheet from the Browns.
Here's Watson on 3rd and 15. He was belted, and a nice read on the play. Newman was over there. Leon Hall was over there. It was a gain of 3. Now watch, here's what happened when that paper blew. He grabs it and looks at it.
Uh-oh. Are you kidding me? Look at Hugh Jackson. Look at Nate Clements saying, we've got something here.
But the guy he hands it to was, I don't know if he was, look, he folds it up, gives it to an assistant.
Like, go decipher this.
Well, the guy did not throw it away. We're not saying anything's underhanded, just kind of some little fun here with all the wind. Here's Hodges, and back it goes, and caught on the fly. Brandon Tate getting a block, and a good one by Pearman that unleashes him, and Cribbs with a flag thrown. Cribbs makes the stop to the 32-yard line, and a 31-yard return on a 47-yard punt.
Cincinnati Bengals special teams. We already showed you in week 2 in the first game between the Bengals and Browns. Adam Jones made a big play on special teams.
Ineligible player downfield. Number 41 of the kicking team. The penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
Holy smokes, because he got down to the 32 on that 31-yard punt return by Tate. You may recall last year in Seattle, he returned a punt for a touchdown.
There you're going to see it right there. It's number 41. Ventrone left a little early, but Tate makes excellent plays. He was very patient. He fielded the punt. You talked about the wind wreaking havoc on the returnman, and there you see Adam Jones giving him that a guy. Way to make a play.
That was a 56-yard punt return last year at Seattle. So here's a 1st and 10. Great beginning field position. Ben Jarvis, Greenellis, huge hole with a big-time block. And he's all the way down to the 7-yard line, galloping for 20, 1st and goal, Cincinnati.
And we told you had to continue to work the run game. And take a look at this. They block down, seal it. The block at the second level there allows Ben Jarvis Green-Ellis to get even further yards. So they continue to chip away. Marvin Lewis said we have to stick with the running game. He felt that was the key to get this offense going, something that was missing 1 week ago against Miami.
Couple tight ends, beautiful block by Whitworth on that last play. On DeQuell Jackson, 1st and goal at the 7. Caught up and brought down by James Michael Johnson. It is a gain of 3. He's down to the 4.
Kevin, this is where Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, I think, is at his best. You get inside the 5-yard line, he's got a nose for the end zone, and you talked to him about it, and you tried to give him all the credit. He wouldn't take it. He said, it's not about me, it's about my offensive lineman. He said, there are a lot of people who have to do a lot of things right to run the ball well. I loved his attitude when we met with him yesterday.
Yep. And the third down game and the running game of Cincinnati, the 2 issues coming into today. Tied at 7, 2-minute warning, Bengals on the move. Dog pound trying to rally their defense. It's second down and goal at the 4. Bengals have it.
Look at that red zone success against the Cleveland Browns. 44 of their last 47 red zone possessions.
Whitworth with the block. To the end zone. Green. That is a touchdown. Flag has been thrown. 4-yard pass to Green. Let's see what they saw here and Pete Morelli's crew. Tate's punt return of 31 yards sets it up.
Holding. Number 28, a defense. The penalty will be declined. Result of the play, it's a touchdown.
Usama Young.
Well, they used the play action to Ben Jarvis Green Ellis to hold the defense. There you see the play fake. That holds the linebackers for a beat. It allows Green to get over to the other side. It was Usama Young holding on to Green, trying to prevent him from getting over to that corner of the end zone. Got behind Jackson. Great catch yet again. 5 straight games with a receiving touchdown. He is prolific.
And the second touchdown thrown by Dalton today. The extra point by Nugent is in. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis had a 20-yard run after the 31-yard punt return by Tate, and then a 4-yard throw in the back to Green. Back in Cleveland, coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for the latest NFL scores, news, and highlights, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report from our CBS studios in New York. Andy Dalton, a couple of touchdown passes. He's in back of Gronkowski. Get out of the way there so you can see him. Bruce, there. Well, there's Andy.
Remember, Dalton and A.J. Green had their first game of their NFL careers in the season opener just 1 year ago here in Cleveland and end up winning.
A lot of smiles over there right now. Pro Football Focus came out with a great little stat on Dalton, and that he takes an average of 2.3 seconds between his snap and his pass release to get the ball away. That is the lowest time in the NFL.
Well, what it is, the ability to process plays and understanding the timing. That's something that the Browns are working with Brandon Weeden. 1, 2, 3, ball out. Something that Andy Dalton has perfected.
Cribbs. And he'll leave it in the end zone, the former college quarterback. Out to the 20 with a touchback and a 1st and 10. Wednesday in primetime, JB, Phil Simms, and Chris Collinsworth showcase America's favorite game with their own unique style. It's inside the NFL. Wednesdays on Showtime, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. So now, with 3 timeouts remaining each way, we see Weeden in that 2-minute offense from his 21st and 10.
One of the things they talk with Brandon Weeden about is that in the National Football League, there's an average about 60 offensive plays a game. Understanding that in college, there are 80 to 90 offensive plays that you don't get as many opportunities at this level. Take advantage of the few you have.
Through the hands of Gordon and the coverage by Burfict. 2nd down and 10.
How about Gordon taking advantage? That's what Coach Shermer is teaching his young quarterback, that when you get so few offensive plays, maybe 11 possessions per game, that as a quarterback, A, you can't turn it over. B, you've got to get the ball out, allow the playmakers around you to make plays. When he asked his quarterback to go out and win games, he's asking him to do a better job of managing the few plays that he has on offense.
There's a 2nd down and 10. Here goes Richardson finding a little daylight on the outside. Then Carlos Dunlap will bring him down. And the gain is for just a yard. Someone has taken a timeout, as they've called it. And we will pause as well. Looks like Cincinnati and Marvin Lewis wanting time. 1:39 to play in the half. Now with 3rd and 9, the timeout story on top, as you see, with the Bengals 7-point lead. 5 in the secondary. Whedon to Richardson. Hallelujah got him first, and then Nelson with the hit. Was there a fumble on the play? He's close to a first down. Look at the digging Adam Jones in there trying to wrestle that ball free. He actually comes out with it.
Well, I can tell you the ball did come out. Nelson laid a lick on Richardson. Ball was out momentarily. I think Richardson was able to get it back. But watch this. This ball's going to come out. Watch the hit by Nelson coming in right here. Bam. That ball's going to come out right there. But see, the knee's down, Kevin. And then Richardson falls on it. He gets it back. But give Adam Jones credit for getting in and clawing that ball out. I think the knee is going to be down even if they take a look at it. Wow, yeah, his knee may have been on top of number 58. Wow, this is very interesting if they go take a look at it.
It sure is.
Marvin Lewis had a good look at it.
Right now, Cleveland is ready to punt. 3 and out. Again, the third consecutive 3 and out for the Cleveland Browns. Come in 0-5. Cincinnati at 3-2. Hodges the punt, and Tate, who had a 31-yard punt return the last time, is going to let this fly out of bounds inside the 25 someplace, and they'll put him at the 24. 47-yard punt Thursday. See why critics are calling elementary the season's best. Don't miss a new episode Thursday only on CBS. Well, you've had to defend situations like this often in your NFL career. You've got $1:21 to play. The opposing team has just the single timeout. And what's the message in that defensive huddle if you're the Browns?
Oh, they're going to take a shot. You've got to believe they're going to try to take a shot with 1:21 left at the end of the half, that they want to try to get some points here, at least try to get in field goal range. And they do that by trying to make a play, getting the ball to A.J. Green.
5 defensive backs, 1st and 10. Pierman in the backfield. Dalton. Armand bends and drilled on the play by Brown, who's today playing in his 166th consecutive game. It's a gain of 6 on the play to the 30-yard line.
Problem is for the Cleveland Browns defense, there's just so many weapons, so many choices for Andy Dalton. You have A.J. Green. We've already seen Jermaine Gresham make a big play. Andrew Hawkins capable of doing it. So is Benz and Tate at the wide receiver position.
Like a lot of urgency out there, though, in this huddle.
I gotta go.
Back thereof, 2nd down and 4. Gresham with the block. Sidewinder there. That's Pierman as he walks the tightrope with Jackson trailing, and he's out of bounds and stopping the clock at about the 46. 16-yard catch and run. And as we think about Mike Nugent and where they want to get to for him, those are some of his numbers.
Just a little bit before that 35-yard line. His career long is 54. Remember, there's a swirling wind here at Cleveland Stadium, so I think you might want to get him inside that 35, maybe even as close as the 30-yard line.
Jay Gruden calling the plays, the offensive coordinator for Cincinnati. A great connection between him and the quarterback Dalton. 1st and 10 on the 46. Dalton going deep and looking for Gresham, who got tangled up with Ward, and there's no yellow on the field as the two were jousting just a bit. Ward terrific against the run, that time watching the tight end.
A little hand fighting between T.J. Ward right there with the hands, not terribly.
No.
Yeah, I can see why the official wouldn't throw a flag there. You know, Gresham was giving him the look as if he had been interfered with. Good coverage by T.J. Ward.
Bengals coming in today had beaten the Cleveland Browns 4 consecutive times. In fact, the Cincinnati win today would give them a 1.5 lead over Pittsburgh for 2nd place in the North. 2nd down and 10. And Dalton finds 5'7" Andrew Hawkins. That's a 7-yard pickup. Am I being generous at 5'7" with him? Is he down to the 47-yard line?
Yeah, I think you are, but he's much taller when it comes to making plays.
Timeout. Bengals burn their last. 24 seconds left. Solomon, a lot of turnover for the Bengals. Gone is Cedric Benson, Jerome Simpson, Bobby Williams, Fanene, Keith Rivers.
Tony.
Marvin Lewis continued to mine for talent. He coaches at the annual Senior Bowl, and that's where they find some of the best players coming out of college. You've seen him add to the roster, and making plays on both sides of the ball.
That's a good point. 3rd down and 3. Whitworth goes down. They got the open Hawkins on the near side as Aiden was closing. He's got the first down. He stops the clock. The gain to the 41. And on the play picks up 6 yards.
All right, he got the first down. I thought he had a big play. He had the matchup he wanted downfield with A.J. Green matched up against T.J. Ward in space. I thought Green was open for a big play. Nonetheless, they pick up the first down.
Dalton's put up some nice numbers today.
Putting up some nice numbers, being very judicious, managing the ball. I think the key is to avoid that critical interception that has plagued them in recent weeks.
Still in the nickel, 1st down and 10. No timeouts. You see the 19 seconds left in the first half. Bowling with the block. Looking for Green. Held on the play. What a catch. Fending off a defender on the play. Screen, who was burned last week in New York. He's to the 16, 25-yard pickup.
How did he make that catch? That ball was just floating like a duck. It got caught in the wind.
Oh, but look at that.
And they ran out of time.
Yep.
No points for the Bengals.
That is the end of the first half.
He did not clock it. It didn't spike that ball in time. End up with no time left on the clock. It was all Andy Dalton could do.
Dalton has thrown 2 touchdown passes in the first half. Watch it again.
Take a look at the clock.
Plenty of time. Clock it now.
Hit it now.
I thought there was a second left.
It appeared there was a second left.
I agree.
Will they call him back on the field for a kick?
They would. Yeah, absolutely they would. Watch this again.
You got to take a look at this one. Look at the clock. There's the spike. Ball down. Still 1 second left on the clock.
Nice work by our guys in the truck with producer Jim Rickoff and our director Mark Grant. So that is a problem. We'll decipher that as we come back. We're at halftime. Bengals 14-7. In the Battle of Ohio, Cincinnati's on top of the Cleveland Browns 14-7 as we go to the 3rd quarter. Now the Droid Razor M play presented by Motorola. Here was Dalton and finding his tight end, Jermaine Gresham.
Well, Gresham does a really good job on the 55-yard catch and run, selling right through that Cleveland Browns secondary. I think Andy Dalton's had a masterful first half, going 13 of 18, 2 touchdown passes. He was flawless, didn't throw the interception. They've been able to keep him clean as well. I think the difference in the first half is the first half interception. Michael Johnson gets the tip pass from Brandon Whedon. They were able to turn it into points.
We ended the first half on kind of an interesting play as the clock was running down. Cincinnati was on the move.
Yeah, you can see the clock is ticking. Bengals out of timeouts. He'll spike it with 1 second left on the clock, and then it expires. So the Bengals didn't have any timeouts left. Marvin Lewis runs in. That play is not reviewable, but they did have an opportunity to get 3 points before the end of the half.
Well, Cleveland will be receiving to start the second half. They have won 4 consecutive games. The Bengals have over the Browns. 7 of the last 8. Can they hold on here? In fact, 3 of the 4 years that Cincinnati comes into Cleveland facing a winless Browns team, and through 30 minutes of football, Solomon, here are some of the numbers. You already talked about that turnover earlier.
Yeah, 7 points off turnovers proves to be the difference in the ball game. Remember, only 7 points separated both teams during their Week 2 contest. We told you about the 81-yard punt return by Adam Jones. Proved to be the difference. Right now, that interception by Michael Johnson, the tip ball at the line of scrimmage by Geno Atkins turns out to be the difference.
From the 20-yard line, 1st and 10 for rookie quarterback Brandon Whedon, a former minor league baseball pitcher, dropped by Cribbs. Coverage across the way by Newman. 2nd down and 10.
Anytime you come in at the second half, you got to be able to make some plays. The ability to score on that first possession in the second half has been elusive for the Cleveland Browns. They've gone 29 consecutive games where they've not scored a touchdown on the first possession of the second half. That's the longest streak in the National Football League.
5 in the secondary. They put Jones in the game, have the Bengals. On 2nd down and 10, he throws it in the dirt. Coverage is coming up the middle. It looked like in Whedon's view that there's a flag now thrown late.
3rd down.
They said now it's going to be 3rd down. They picked up the flag. Whedon did the right thing there. He said it, talked about avoiding the ego of trying to force the ball in. He knows he has a strong arm. He's a former baseball player, was drafted by the New York Yankees. But he understands that he's got to live to fight another day. I think that was one of those plays. The Bengals had sniffed out that screen. He had no choice but to dump the ball to the ground, take the incompletion.
Obadiah was in the backfield, 3rd down and 10, incomplete. Hall was there. They were looking for Josh Cooper, rookie free agent out of Oklahoma State, up for his first NFL game today. They got a punt.
And watch Hall, 29 on the slot, clears through the traffic, did an excellent job negotiating his way. And look at the right hand, enough to get the ball out of the hand of Cooper to force the punt. I think it was Leon Hall who said that, yeah, Whedon carved us up week 2. But now we have more tape on him. Very familiar with what he wants to do 2nd time around.
This is the 4th consecutive 3-and-out by the Cleveland Browns. Tate was there. He's already had a nice punt return today. He's going to get great beginning field position with the poor punt, which is out of bounds at the 45, a 35-yarder launched by Hodges.
Well, Cincinnati Bengals, this offense gets an opportunity to put some points on the board. Remember, the first possession of the game, they had to punt it, but after getting the turnover, they get the short field, go 63 yards for a touchdown, then 3 consecutive punts, and then they score another touchdown, the touchdown to A.J. Green. Whenever they've had good field position, they've been able to turn it into points.
Cleveland today starting 2 rookies at the defensive tackles. Ataba Rubin is out, and Jarvis Green Ellis is hit by Sheard. It's a gain of 2 to the 47-yard line.
And right now, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you've got to have a sense of urgency on defense. Try to create a turnover, try to get the ball back for your offense. If you are the Cincinnati Bengals, you've got to listen to what their coach Marvin Lewis has been saying. Stop being nice. It's now time to be nasty. Go out and be physical, and when you get a team down, you got to learn how to finish them off.
2nd down and 8. Dalton has that one dropped by Gresham with the coverage on the play by DeQuell Jackson, who the last time he met Cincinnati had 3 sacks back in mid-September.
Gresham dropped one earlier. You thought it was a little high. I thought he should have caught it, but this was right in the breadbasket. I think he tries to make a move a little too soon. He's been good enough and very sure-handed, but now he's got to settle himself down and make sure he possesses the football.
Cleveland has put in rookie defensive back Trevin Wade, who was burned last week for a touchdown. 6 defensive backs for the Browns. 3rd down and 8 coming up from the 47 for quarterback Andy Dalton. Whitworth is holding off the defensive Parker, and then from behind, hit by screen. It is a gain of 2. And they work their way to the 48. They got a punt.
Dalton just took his eyes away from the open receiver. Watch here. I think we're going to have Tate right in the slot. He's going to be open. Now, if you go right there, that's a 1st down. He's looking to the right side of the field, which is the wrong side. Misread of the coverage by Dalton. He misses a wide receiver's open. You see Gresham's not happy that he dropped the ball on an earlier down.
Huber, who almost had one blocked last week against Miami, is set to punt the ball away to the Browns, who've had 4 consecutive 3-and-outs. Plenty of space here to let this one launch. Cribbs at the 7. He fumbled the ball and out of bounds at the 12.
Wow. Cribbs has fumbled either a punt or kick return in each of the last 3 games. And he fumbles one here today, not recovered by the Bengals as it goes out of bounds.
On 1st and 10 after the punt, Richardson tries to dig his way in. Clements and Maualuga there, a gain of 2, and he's up to the 13-yard line.
Not much of Richardson in the first half, but Whedon got off to the slow start. Ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, intercepted by Michael Johnson. Then Whedon goes to work, getting the ball over to Josh Cooper, then selling over the top on a 71-yard strike. to Josh Gordon for the touchdown pass. So we've seen a little bit of bad from Whedon, and we've seen some good, but he has to continue to make plays big time here in the second half.
New left guard is Greco taking the place of Pinkston. 2nd down and 8. Here comes Richardson. Wrapped up by Vontez. Perfect. Loss of a yard. Here come the boos. Back to the 12-yard line.
Well, first of all, you've got to understand, you've got to continue to feed the ball to Richardson. This is really about how well the Cincinnati Bengals run defense is performing and how they're really dominating against this Cleveland Browns offensive line. 4 consecutive possessions where they've gone 3 and out, haven't been able to manufacture many yards at all. Only 7 net total yards on their last 4 possessions.
Well, the defense for Cincinnati has shown improvement the last couple of weeks.
This Bengals defensive line, I think, is as good as any in the National Football League.
They're down 9. The reset drop. That may be a fumble as he jumps back on the ball. Did he make a move? They're going to call an incomplete pass. You saw the official there on the side waving his arms.
Yeah.
Another drop ball.
And what is this? That maybe the 6th drop pass today by a Cleveland Browns receiver, and the 2nd for the fullback. He dropped one earlier. Only really Josh Cooper was 3 drop passes so far today. Maybe I'm counting the drop punt or muffed punt by Joshua Cribbs. There's a lot of Joshes
There are.
on this offense for the Cleveland Browns. Cooper, Gordon, Cribbs.
5 consecutive 3 and outs by the Browns. Hodges, Brandon Tate, he bobbles it, then vacuums it in, and he finds a little bit of a seam, looking for an Arson Charles block, and brought down on the play as a flag has been thrown on a 21-yard pickup. James Michael Johnson makes the tackle. The ball right now at the Cleveland 41. And Pete Morelli and his staff deciphering the play.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 16 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down. Timeout.
That's Andrew Hawkins. Working on Buster Screen, knocking him away. 11:28 to play in the 3rd.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. The new Droid Razr M by Motorola. Say hello to the full screen phone. And by Allstate. Enter the 60 Seconds of Mayhem sweepstakes at allstatecfb.com.
So here is a 1st down and 10 coming up for Cincinnati. They get the ball after a 3 and out by Cleveland. Here comes Sheard, and there goes the pass. They get it off, and this is Orson Charles, a young tight end with his 3rd reception of the season. A 13-yard catch and run. They'll put him up at the 42.
Good play called by the offense coordinator, Jay Gruden, making up for a costly penalty. Get the ball over. Orson Charles looks good every time we take a look at him. He's the backup tight end behind Jermaine Gresham. Gresham drops a couple, so let's get Charles in the game.
12-yard pickup right there. Kitchen makes the stop. They move him to the 42. It is a 1st down. Hawkins on the move. Gresham trying to throw a block, and on the edge there met by T.J. Ward. Leading tackler on this Cleveland team. It's a gain of 2.
Kevin, really an important game, I think, for both teams. You talk about the Cleveland Browns. They come in 0-5. They've lost 12 consecutive games inside of the division. And even Coach Shermer said that we have a young, talented team, but sooner or later we got to get a win to pay off the fact that the process works. You want young players to continue to keep buying in each week. Sooner or later, you got to go out and be able to get a win. And how important would it be for Coach Shermer to get his 1st win inside of the division?
2nd down and 8. Tough, though. Tough division. Dalton. Almost picked off on the play by Hayden. The coverage was there on Green. We talked about that matchup before the game. Incomplete.
Joe Hayden, excellent play, because this is a really good throw from Dalton, and you know Green's going to catch it. Look at that right hand. We've seen Joe Hayden knock down a couple of balls today. He was able to get one out earlier, and now you see him knocking the ball down there. So his return has meant a lot to this defense for the Cleveland Browns.
Well, as you were saying the other day, without Hayden the last 4 games, Cleveland has given up 10 touchdown passes. Last season with him, they only gave up 16 all year.
Absolutely. His presence and his return That means this defense can get back to their top 10 form from 1 year ago.
4 in the secondary. They had a linebacker, Robertson, covering on the wing, and that is a
third down.
penalty against the Bengals, making a 3rd and 8, now 3rd and 13.
Also a big game for the Cincinnati Bengals. They let one get away that they felt they should have won last week against the Miami Dolphins. Now inside of the division, the Pittsburgh Steelers have already lost in the Thursday night game to the Tennessee Titans. Marvin Lewis said, we've got to start winning games that we're expected to win. And he thought this was one of them.
Pierman is back there. Usually it's Leonard. He's got a rib injury. Out right now. Don't know if he'll return. 3rd and 13. Good time for Dalton. Armand Binns. Good open field tackle made by Craig Robertson. Flag has been thrown. He's up to the 44. Picks up 6 as it stands right now.
Well, this Cleveland Brown defense has picked up the intensity. This flag looked like it's going to be against the Bengals.
Pass interference. Number 85 of the offense. Penalty will be declined. 4th down.
You're going to get Binns. He must have pushed or shoved off before darting across the field to make the catch. Cleveland Browns needed that kind of stop, needed that kind of performance from defense. Now take a look at Cribbs. The wind is swirling, Kevin, and he has struggled to field the ball.
Second consecutive punt coming up for the Cincinnati Bengals, who come in 3 and 2. Cleveland 0 and 5. Huber. Oh, that was almost knocked away by Fort. From the 10, Cribbs finding a seam, and there he goes. No flags thrown. Great block thrown by Fort. He's all the way down to the 28-yard line. Brought down on the play, and the return by Miles, a 60-yard return. He had a 70-plus yard return last week against the New York Giants.
Kevin, this is a great hustle by Miles. It's Miles who misses on Cribbs initially. He runs right by him, but look at 45. He continues to track, continues to stay with it, and if he doesn't, Cribbs is probably going to score a touchdown. And sometimes just because you make a mistake early in the play doesn't mean you cannot recover, as we saw from Miles there. Great catch and run on the punt return by Joshua Cribbs.
He had the 74-yard kickoff return last week, a 60-yard punt return this week. He remains a very electrifying player, number 3 in kickoff returns, but number 6 in punt returns this season in the NFL.
And now let's see if Whedon can turn the big-time return from Cribbs into points for his offense.
Richardson back there, 1st and 10. Trent. And looked like he got tangled up with Pecco at the bottom of that pile, around his ankles. Gain of 6 on the play, and they're going to put him at about the 25 to get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL, that's 635, to download NFL Mobile, or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. 2nd down 5. Gilbury is on the defensive line, along with the rookie Still for the Bengals. On 2nd and 5, that was deflected. The coverage was on Dunlap, but I'm not sure who got a hand on it on that defense, but right in the wheelhouse.
Oh, it was right in his face. Vontaze Burfict coming in off the edge. And what did the Bengals tell us? 3-step drop means jump and get your hands up. Watch what Burfict does here. Just an excellent play. They said they wanted to bat more balls at the line of scrimmage today. And if the cornerback to that side of the field doesn't fall down, he's going to have himself an interception. That was Terrence Newman covering on that side of the field.
They lost Thomas Howard in practice earlier in the season. Burfict is filling in and starting there. 3rd down and 5. And here comes Whedon sliding into second base, the former minor league pitcher, to about the 23, and picks up 2, and shy of a 1st down by 3. They're going to try for 3.
Boy, I know you, if you're the fans in Cleveland, you want Brandon Whedon to maybe sacrifice himself to get another yard. I don't think you can. It would have been a collision that he would have lived to regret. Sometimes you just got to slide, take the field goal, but I think he would have taken a hit that could have altered the outcome of this game.
Dawson has been perfect this year, trying a 41-yarder, 10 of 10, including three from 50 plus, and this is right down the middle. Cleveland comes up with three and cashes in on a 60-yard punt return by Josh Cribbs. 8:25 to play in the third. We've grown a little bit closer in the Battle of Ohio. Browns off to their worst start since the expansion season of 1999. Just got three. They were hoping for more. Dawson from 41. Now he'll kick off. Got a closer game at 14-10. You can see the ruffling officials' pants right there. It's been a windy day from the outset, and it's very hard if you're a kicker to try to get a read on this wind. It's got to be almost impossible.
How about trying to field the kick?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it's going to go 18 different ways.
Yeah, that's even more difficult.
Dawson. Brandon Tate watches this hop over his head. Well, this year, the fourth year of the NFL's crucial catch campaign, supporting the American Cancer Society and raising awareness about annual breast cancer screenings. Players, coaches, and officials will be wearing pink items, nearly all of which will be auctioned on NFL.com/auction. To date, the platform has raised more than $3 million for the American Cancer Society. And the very first flag thrown today was a pink one. Now, of course, they're back to yellow, but the officials even getting in the act. They've got some pink in their hats and wristbands today themselves, and like the flag in the very first penalty flag thrown today. Now we're back to the yellow. Here's a first down and 10. Dalton. They'll keep it. With the block rolling on him was Stevens on a gain of 3 to the 23.
You see the Cleveland Browns 0-5 start, some of the worst in franchise history. One was in 1975. They went 3-11 that year, and then in 99, the first year they came back, they went 2-14, and then they've lost 11 consecutive games overall as they enter the 2012 season. So talked about the importance of getting a win today. Win against the Bengals will go a long way.
Second down and 7. Push off there, an incomplete. Binns was defended by the veteran Sheldon Brown as we take you to New York and James.
Kevin, Solomon may have done this in high school, but not at the pro level.
And what do you think's going to happen here? Jacoby Jones up the sideline untouched, 108 yards for a touchdown. This ties an NFL record, Ravens 24-13.
Only the third time it's happened. Ellis Hobbs and Randall Cobb. Let's send it back to Kevin Harlan and Solomon Wilcots.
It's been a while, JB. You're right.
Jacoby Jones, the ex-Houston Texan. Third down and 7. 5 in that Cleveland secondary. Pierman was back there. He held the oncoming rush of Robertson. A flag was thrown. That baby is right in the hands of Hayden. Brought down by Hawkins. A flag was thrown because I think it was a hold on the driving linebacker Robertson, who was coming up the middle, and the running back held him. The first turnover right there, and let's see what all this is going to...
It's going to be declined.
Holding. Number 30, the offense. Penalty will be declined. Wilker flag, first down.
He makes a play, first game back. Joe Hayden had said all week he wanted to come out and play. As you take a look over to the left side of your screen, ball comes out, he breaks on it. Oh, it's Screen who breaks on it, and then Hayden picks it off after that. He had always talked about during the 4 weeks that he was training. He trained as if he was going to be going into training camp, and he wanted to come back and play as if he could make the Pro Bowl. Of course, being suspended makes him ineligible for this year's Pro Bowl.
They're confirming the turnover as they do with every turnover, and they have confirmed it. Dalton with the pick. First down and 10. Obadiah was in the backfield. Whedon batted down again. This time Pecco getting up there and playing volleyball with a spike.
Draped around his ankles was Carlos Dunlap. This is Cincinnati Bengals defensive line. They can take over a ball game, Kevin. Take a look at Dunlap coming right here. He's wrapped around the ankles of Brandon Whedon. And then the ball is batted down. So they've been able to bat, 3 balls at the line of scrimmage today? Something that they wanted to do coming in.
Second consecutive start, and Cincinnati territory. Here's a 2nd and 10. Chased by Atkins. Obadiah knocked out of bounds by Perfect across the way. The catch and run for 9. And we're going to put him at about the 16.
Well, I thought the Bengals had a good beat on this play. It was good pressure by Geno Atkins, forcing the throw. Then Obadiah able to slip one tackle, but Perfect spikes him just before he can hit the first down marker, creating a 3rd one opportunity. Let's see what the Browns can do. Do you give it to Trent Richardson? They want to score a touchdown after getting this turnover and getting such great field position.
3rd down and 1. Richardson didn't block Gathers. He didn't block Gathers. You can see him holding it. He knew he messed up on the protection, and he screws up there, and Gathers is left free. A 2nd sack, a loss of 4, back to the 20-yard line.
And take a look at him over to the, he'll step up right there. Got to be able to block him. And Richardson told us at Alabama, Nick Saban put a lot on him to do exactly that in pass protection. We talked about this in our meeting with him on Friday, about that part of his game. Even his coach, Pat Shurmur, vouched for him, said he's an excellent pass protector as a running back. He just simply whiffed on that play.
38-yard field goal brings the Browns to within 1. Cashing in on a nice interception by Hayden. 6:27 in the 3rd.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. And by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more.
Mike Holmgren was saying the other day, the transition for a running back into the NFL is as easy as any position. It's the pass blocking which is a challenge, and we just saw it right there for the rookie out of Alabama.
Yeah, I think as he tried to clear the fake handoff by Wheating, just got too far up the field and couldn't wheel back to block Gathers.
Tate, that 9 yards deep, is going to leave it right there. Cincinnati will get it. Again, nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Don't miss Phil Simms, Rich Gannon, Steve Berline, and special guest Dan Marino on NFL Monday, QB Monday at 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Well, if you're the Cleveland Browns, take a look. There's the Bengals' second half possessions. Punt, interception. They've given the Browns excellent field position, but the Browns only have 2 field goals to show.
1st and 10. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis is wrapped up by John Hughes. Is that a nice start to his pro career? That's a gain of a yard to the 21.
A lot of young players in the 2012 draft playing for this Cleveland Browns football team. We talked about the rookies on offense. Hughes is one on defense, and they're all playing, getting a lot of experience, but the wins is what it's all about.
2nd down, 9. Ben Jarvis, nowhere to go. DeQuell Jackson is right there. And he's going to stay right at the 21-yard line, so no gain. They're hoping also to get back defensive end Phil Taylor. He had a torn pec in May, and he comes back now to this defense, and it's just another good young player.
Oh, if they get him back, and you're right, with him back, I should say, they get that much better. DeQuell Jackson is really the linchpin to this entire defense. And I think Sheldon Brown said that when they lost him last week, Bradshaw rushed for 200 yards. It was like an engine losing its carburetor.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Springs the extra defensive back, 3rd and a short 9. Whitworth the block at the tackle, knocked away. Beautiful defensive play. And that is Sheldon Brown, the 11-year veteran who came in a trade with Philadelphia. 2nd-round pick by the Eagles. 3 and out, they got a punt.
Sheldon Brown, a veteran player. He understands 3-step drop, break on the ball. He doesn't hesitate. He has a great angle and great ability to anticipate. He's played in a lot of big games coming from Philadelphia, trying to help turn this franchise around.
Cribbs is back, waiting the punt from Kevin Huber, which will be launched somewhere inside his 10-yard line. For the 11. Going to wave it off. Joe Hayden had an interception. We mentioned that the Browns defense, number 5 in NFL interceptions. Their defense does a nice job right there. And here comes the Cleveland offense.
Kevin, this is an earlier play from the previous possession when Carlos Dunlap was draped around the ankle of Brandon Whedon. Now watch him tweak the ankle. He twisted. Whedon is wincing in pain, he's going to get up. But there you see him. He said, I'm having a hard time pushing off my ankle right now. He's still in the game, but Colt McCoy, his backup, is warming up.
First down and 10 after the punt. Greg Little on the move and hit across the way by Terrence Newman and into the Gatorade and slipping and sliding his way for 13 as the Browns get their first down since 14:51 left in the second quarter. 13-yard pickup right there.
That can be dangerous climbing on top of the Gatorade. You got to watch yourself. Watch him come back to the ball. Then he's able to elude the defenders who collide into one another. Picks up a block down the field. Good catch and run by Little. We just got to manage that part a little bit. That can be really dangerous.
Benai is in the backfield. First down and 10 from their 47-yard line. Good block by Schwartz. Jordan Cameron, the tight end, chased out of bounds by Nate Clement. It's a first down. It's a catch and run to the 38. 15-yard pickup and a first.
And Colt McCoy is on the sideline warming up a little bit. He's throwing some passes. But right now, Brandon Whedon has completed 2 consecutive passes. That'll help the ankle feel better. And when we talk to Sheldon Brown, a defensive player for the Cleveland Browns, what did he say? Defenses can't intimidate Brandon Whedon. That's one of the things we're most impressed with the rookie, even though he's 29 years old. He's not a young rookie, but nonetheless a rookie.
He's hit 8 different receivers. Here he goes on first and 10. Little. In his way, contorting his body. Jones brings him down. Little, the second-round pick last year out of North Carolina. He'll pick up a yard, and he's at the 38.
Even when we met with Brandon Whedon, were you not impressed with just his poise, his maturity, and how he handled some of our questions in the production meetings? Got that swagger. You know, he played baseball in college, but he spent his senior year on the golf team.
He's a heck of an athlete, obviously.
So he understands that he doesn't get a lot of mulligans. But we talked about the fact that you're only going to get 60 offensive plays as opposed to maybe 80 or 90 in college. Got to take advantage of these few opportunities.
That's the running back in motion, second down and 9. Reverse, and here's a college quarterback, Krebs, who wants to throw, and now he'll run. Out of bounds, Newman. Creative play, much to the delight of the capacity crowd. It is a run of about 8.5, 9. They're close to a first down here, the 28.
He's going to want Jordan Cameron, number 84, coming across the field there. You can't see him, but 84 was covered. The Bengals do a really good job of taking that away. And that's what they'd rather have, Krebs running it as opposed to throwing it over their head. Remember, former, as you mentioned, former college quarterback at Kent State.
Now a timeout will be taken by Whedon. Play clock was at 5, as you can see on top, and 3:03 here in the third. We've had a couple touchdown passes by Dalton, one of 55 yards, one of 4 to A.J. Green, the first one to the tight end Gresham. Whedon threw a 71-yard touchdown pass to rookie Josh Gordon on their third possession to tie the game at 7 early on. We've had a couple of subsequent field goals of 41 and 38 by Dawson. Well, tonight on 60 Minutes, it's all about Bond. James Bond celebrating 50 years of the world's most famous spy, plus a report from the front lines of Syria. That's tonight on 60 Minutes on CBS. So on this drive, a 13-yard pass to Little, a 15-yard pass to Jordan Cameron, and Roger Moore, born back in 1927, one of the Bond actors over the years.
Memorable James Bond was Roger Moore. How about John Wooden? You share the same birthday as John Wooden, the Wizard of Westwood. Now that's doing something. Brandon Whedon should be so proud.
3rd and 1 after the Cleveland timeout. 11 consecutive losses for the Browns coming into today, tying a franchise record from 1975. And when they broke it, they beat Cincinnati at the Municipal Stadium. Here's the quarterback keeper for the quarterback Whedon. And looks like he's gouged his way for a first down.
Kept the ball and lost his helmet.
But kept his head. And gets the first down. And so again, the crowd likes it.
Behind Alex Mack, the center. And they have to do something with this possession here in the second half. The Bengals offense has done very little in the second half of this ball game. Pat Shurmur has seen his offense get good field position after a long punt return by Krebs and an interception return by Joe Hayden.
Richardson remains on the bench. Here's a 1st and 10 from the 27 of Cincinnati. Good throw. Gordon pushed out of bounds by the veteran Terrence Newman. Nice out to the 13-yard line. 14-yard gain, 1st down, Cleveland.
Cleveland used that second-round supplemental draft pick on Gordon, and he is paying huge dividends. He had to pay off big this season because it's next year's second-round pick. And if you're going to advance that pick on a player, you've got to have that player play huge dividends right now. Get the production from Gordon, and I think he's well worth it.
Good-looking drive, 13 yards to Little, 15 yards to Cameron, 14 yards right there through the air to Gordon. 1st and 10. Obadiah snaking his way down to the 7. Hit on the play by Newman. Pecco is there. Swerving gain of 6 yards.
What did Pat Shermer say? That we have to respond well to those moments of crisis. We talked about that 3-minute window of adversity that hit them last week on the road against the New York Giants. They did not respond well. I think today they have responded. They were down to the Bengals. They took the blows, and now they have an opportunity to take a lead in this ball game.
Down in 4. Obadiah with the block in there from Laval and working his way. Bulldozing touchdown. Wait, one official has raised his arms on the top of your screen, and the judge on the bottom of your screen signaling he was down at the 1, but the guy at the top had his arms raised. Hardesty is the one to take it.
Wow, this is excellent. Just a great play by the fullback Morin. That's what sprung him. And then look at Laval. He's pushing Hardesty toward the goal line. I think the elbow, the left elbow, watch Hardesty's left elbow hit the ground, I think, before the ball, bam, right there, before the ball hits the chalk.
Like we said, Hardesty has only played 1 game before today, working over the left side here on a 1st and goal. Mays came in with among a couple to hit. And they've got a new blocker up there, too, on front, and that's O'Neal Cousins, who is in there blocking for Pat Shermer's offensive line.
And Shermer can't believe they can't pick up the 1 yard. He's like, you're telling me we didn't get in? This is where your offense has to pay off huge dividends. Someone's got to win in the trenches. Who will it be? Bengals defensive line or the offensive line for Cleveland?
Hardesty, some nice plays on that drive, and so here we go with Cleveland knocking on the door, going to the 4th and down by 1 on CBS, home at Super Bowl 47. Hardesty is going to stay in here. Richardson, we've just been told, is a injury to his side. 5-minute drive, 2nd and goal at the 1. Hardesty, airborne, touchdown. And Cleveland has taken the lead.
And we asked who was going to win in the battle of the trenches, as Hardesty is the recipient of great blocking by his offensive line, knocking back the Bengals defensive line. There's the surge right there. Up and over the top on a pile of bodies, and he gets it in for a touchdown. And Coach Shermer is elated.
On that drive, Whedon, as you take a look at Hardesty, who missed his rookie year because of an injury. Whedon was 4 of 4 on the drive. Here comes Dawson, ticking up another one. On that drive, completions of 13 to Little, 15 to Cameron, 14 to Gordon, and Hardesty leaping from a yard. So a team in Cleveland that had 7 consecutive possessions without a 1st down gets 6 first downs on that last drive. They've scored 13 unanswered points over the last 8.5 minutes. Hardesty from a yard. It's good to see that kid put a smile on, too. He's been kind of a hard luck story here in Cleveland. And the Browns have taken their first lead of the game, coming into today, having lost 11 consecutive, going back to last year.
Well, they scored 13 points here in the second half. They come out on fire. They were sparked by a return by Joshua Cribbs, then an interception return by Joe Hayden. And then they go 10 plays, 66 yards. Hardesty dives over the top for a touchdown. So the defense is working in concert with the offense. You could say this is complementary football. Special teams getting in on a defense, and now the offense puts together a drive.
So his first career touchdown is a memorable one as it puts his team up on top. Remember, he had only played in one game coming into today this season.
Show you how dominant they've been. The Bengals only 29 yards total offense here in the second half.
The ensuing kickoff. Go out of bounds. It went inside the pylon.
By rule, the ball be placed on the 40-yard line. First down.
Well, coming up on the Subway postgame show, join JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Cowell for the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Subway postgame show from our CBS studios in New York. Well, how will Cincinnati respond? Remember, it was a year ago when they went 9-7, and Andy Dalton engineered 5 fourth-quarter comebacks, one of which was in this building on opening day. But it was a pass thrown by Bruce Gradkowski to A.J. Green that beat Joe Hayden, a 41-yard touchdown pass. So let's see what happens here. The 40-yard line, 1st and 10. Good throw on a quick slant. Green hit the deck. The ball is free. They blow it dead. He was hit on the play by Hayden. A quick slash, a 16-yard pickup to the 43-yard line of Cleveland.
Oh, Green's getting really lucky. He had a play like this against the Dolphins last week. It appeared to be a fumble, and they ruled that he was down. He's just got to do a better job of holding onto the ball through the fall and hitting the ground.
After the first catch of the half for A.J. Green, here comes Ben Jarvis. Green Ellis plowing his way into the grasp of rookie Billy Wynn down to the 38 and a pickup of 6 on the play.
And right now, Dalton trying to hurry up. I think he was trying to get that ball snapped quickly so they wouldn't review whether or not there was a fumble by A.J. Green, because they're not going hurry up, but they sure did get up to the line of scrimmage real quickly to snap the ball on that previous play.
Dalton doesn't look rattled, does he?
Oh,
doesn't waver.
He's the red rifle. Very calm and poised.
2nd and 4. And Jarvis, Green Ellis hit, brought down at about the 35. It's a gain of 3, and Buster Screen was there to make the stop. One of the extra defensive backs.
Yeah, they're going to slam right into Ben Jarvis. Look at that. Wow.
Third and 1. Green Ellis submarining for a first down, hit by DeQuell Jackson, put him to the 31, gain of 4, move the chain.
This is what Marvin Lewis talked about when we spoke to him last night. He said, we've got to do better on 3rd and 1, staying committed to the run. Andy Dalton will check out of some plays, but right there, they didn't allow him to check out of it. They committed to run.
1st and 10. With time. Caught by Green. Screen and Hayden were there. Catch is made, flag is thrown, gain to the 19, pickup of 12.
Flag thrown in the secondary. They're going to say maybe he pushed off.
Pass interference, number 18, offense. 10-yard penalty remains, first down.
Boy, Hayden and A.J. Green, they have a history. Yeah, it's a rivalry, the Battle of Ohio. You'll see, watch Green, there's a shove in the back. And Hayden comes up to make a play, but then he turns to the official and says, aren't you going to call that? This goes back to their days in the SEC when they were in college, when Hayden played for Florida and A.J. Green was at Georgia. They've known each other a long time, and they've battled for a long time.
Osama Young has come in, playing the safety. 1st and 20. Pierman is the running back. Good catch by Tate. With Brown draped on him at the 30-yard line. A bullet-thrown pickup of 11 yards.
Wow, this is about adjusting to the ball. Tate adjusts to the ball. Sheldon Brown never sees it. If Sheldon Brown is looking inside, he's going to have an interception and a possible pick 6. And Dalton has thrown 2 pick 6. Interception return for touchdown so far this season.
Drive started at the 40. Remember, the kickoff was out of bounds. They got the benefit of some good beginning field position. Pierman remains. 2nd down and 9. Zeitler with a good block. Pierman hit Hayden and others at the 26 and a gain of 4. Browns are saying they come up with it, and Billy Wynn is right there, and not the case. They marked him down.
Dalton was starting to get uncomfortable. You already talked about he gets rid of it as fast as any quarterback in the league. If he has to hold on to it, he starts to maybe get a little happy feet. Well, now they're going to take a look at it. There's going to be a challenge from Pat Shurmur to see if they got the ball. The red flag has come out. The official picked it up, but he's going over to have a conference with Shurmur to see exactly what he wants to challenge, and now he's not happy. He was saying, no, you can't challenge it.
The ruling on the field was forward progress. There's no challenge on the play. Third down.
Browns have scored 13 unanswered points. They did it in a span of 8 minutes and 30 seconds. They come in today as the only winless team in the NFL at 0-5. And we're kind of in that stage where even though it's early in the year, it's an important game for both teams.
It really is an important game for Bengals and Browns alike. That's what the Battle of Ohio is all about.
Third down and 5. Gresham's been shut out in this half so far. Got a big-time touchdown in the first half. Dalton looking for Gresham. T.J. Ward was there. Gresham slipped at about the 15-yard line. Incomplete.
Gresham's got a knife down in there. They're not going to call it. Let's see if there was contact coming in from the left side of the screen. Upper side. It looks like Gresham just trips. Looks like the ground just came loose under his feet. And so it's almost like a slip where he dug in and the turf just gave way.
Well, here is a 44-yard field goal try by Nugent. 9 of 10 this season. Missed the fourth quarter 41-yarder against Miami last week. A lot of wind. That one knifes its way through. 44-yard field goal. We've grown closer in Cleveland. 3-point game. 11-11 to play between the Browns and Bengals.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Get to a better state with a discount double check. Outback Steakhouse. It's always fresh in the Outback. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
We just had a 44-yard field goal. 2017, Cleveland is on top now by just 3.
Yeah, well, now we get to take a look at the Cincinnati Bengals defense. And, you know, every great defense has a trio of defenders on that line, just like with the New York Giants and Osi Umenyiora, Justin Tuck, Jason Pierre-Paul. Even Coach Shurmur talked about this Bengals defensive line, said that he thought they were even better with Geno Atkins, Carlos Dunlap, and Michael Johnson. And now this Bengals defense have to be able to go on the road, be able to make a play, get the ball back for their offense. It may come down to how well they play here in the fourth quarter.
Cripps. And down he comes. Nice block by Ventrone. Out of bounds. He is rustled on the play. Marvin Jones, a reserve receiver, knocked him out. 45-yard return by Cripps. And the ball will go to the 36.
And we talked to Michael Johnson. You can see him in the huddle talking to his defense. He said it's as simple as going out and playing hard. He said, hey, just go out and have fun. And I love when he said, Kevin, that Sundays is my favorite day of the week. You ought to have fun playing in this league, playing this game.
Hardesty back there and offers a block on 1st and 10. Gordon reels it in, juggled it. First down, 49-yard line, hit by Newman. Has a 14-yard gain.
Of course, if you can't pressure Whedon, then you can win. He throws a strike. 3-step drop, the slant to Gordon. He bobbles it, but still has time to haul it in. That's how much he had beaten Newman on the slant. If Newman was within a step of him when that ball was bobbled, he would have been able to keep Gordon from hauling it in the second time.
Couple tight ends here, and Hardesty will take it on 1st and 10. Slashing through a block by Thomas. And he's down to the 35, running about as well as he's ever run here in Cleveland. A 14-yard pickup and a first down for Cleveland.
I went over and had some fun with these running backs after practice. Look at the block. Look at the cutback right here, getting by Pecco. That's just an excellent read by Martario Hardesty. Well, he's filling in for Trent Richardson. Richardson saying, I want back in the game, but the way Hardesty is running, already scoring a touchdown, they may continue to feed him.
Well, we've been told that Richardson has the injury to his side, his ribs, and that has necessitated Hardesty in there. And Hardesty is answering the bell. 8 carries and 37 yards. 1st and 10, Hardesty once again. Dives his way to the 30-yard line. The third-year back out of Tennessee, picking up 5 on the play. And they got the tackle made by Mawaluga.
I love what Pat Shurmur told us when we spoke with him after practice on Friday. He said, ideally, we want to throw the ball to get the lead in the first half and then run it to close out games in the second half. And you can see that's exactly what they're doing. They've already run it 3 consecutive plays on this drive.
Second down long, 5 Maurice at the block. Mawaluga wraps him up near the 26-yard line, close to a first down, and a pickup of 4.
Now you see 4 consecutive runs. Coach Shurmur, the head coach, he is the play caller to this offense. It is his voice in the head and in the helmet of Brandon Weeden, calling the plays, dialing up run plays. You get 3rd and 1, they may run it again, or may he go off script and go play action, dump it off to a tight end. But right now, this Cleveland Brown offense is taking it to the Bengals defense.
Bringing another offensive lineman, that is O'Neal Cousins. 3rd down and 1. Victor Hardesty, a block by Marisa. Weeden, he's got his receiver. That's the tight end. Inside the 5 and tackled by Nelson. Jordan Cameron pulls it down to the 3. Pickup of 23. 1st and goal, Cleveland Brown.
Well, you run it 4 consecutive times, then you go play fake, and then you bring the tight end. He fell down, Kevin, got back up, and then got back into his route. Well, this was amazing. He fell down initially and still was able to get up off the ground and continue to be open. What about the patience of Brandon Weeden? Going through his progression, he looked to his left and came back to the tight end who had fallen down initially. Look at Coach Shurmur. He wanted to be able to reel off a play. Now it appears as though there's going to be a timeout by the Bengals.
Weeden will make the long walk over. He's at 7 consecutive. Timeout, 8:05, Cleveland on the move. All right, we've had a timeout. It was taken by the Cleveland Browns. They've got 1 left. They've had big plays on this drive. It began with the 45-yard kickoff return by Cribbs. They had a pass to Gordon for 14, a run by Hardesty of 14, a catch and run by the tight end Cameron. Now 2 tight ends in. Marisek is the fullback. 1st and goal at the 3. Wide open. Touchdown. Benjamin Watson.
Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator, he's the head coach. He's dialing up the plays, dialing up some beauties. It was just a wonderful play. You can see Watson's going to come over, clear across the formation, wide open. The Bengals lose track of him. And Weeden finds him in the end zone.
First touchdown reception of the season for Ben. Here's the extra point now by Dawson. As the Browns put on a 6-play, 63-yard drive. Pat Shurmur calling the plays for Brandon Weeden. 3:11 on the clock, much to the disgust of Marvin Lewis.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Subway Restaurants. Try the new Tuscan Chicken Melt today. And by NFL Mobile from Verizon. Built to bring you the game.
In the second half, the Cleveland Browns have outscored the Cincinnati Bengals 20-3. A look at Brandon Weeden, who has had a terrific day. 2 touchdown passes, 1 moments ago to the tight end, Benjamin Watson.
And Pat Shurmur asked the quarterback coach, Mark Whipple, is Brandon Weeden ready to go out and win us again? I think Weeden has responded, as evident by what you just showed on those last 4 possessions. A couple of field goals, a couple of touchdowns, and he had tweaked his ankle. He didn't know if he'd be able to continue playing, but he has sucked it up, and you can see he's out there battling his team, communicating with his players, putting points on the board.
Dawson with the kickoff. Tate will bring it out. Nice special teams tackle on the play by Robertson. 17-yard return.
Kevin, let's take a look at the play that set up the touchdown. It's a 23-yard completion to the tight end, Jordan Cameron. And watch Chris Crocker. He's going to be cover him. But then when Jordan Cameron falls down, Crocker sort of lets him go. He thinks play's over. Let him go and say, oh, he got back up, continued his route. That's how he got open. It sort of was a busted play by the defense because Crocker dropped his guard for one moment when Cameron Jordan fell down.
Former basketball player out of USC. Here's a 1st and 10. Perman in the backfield. Intercepted and picked up by Sheldon Brown, and that will be 6.
Sheldon Brown is an 11-year veteran of the National Football League. We told you he played in a lot of big games playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, trying to help this Cleveland Brown franchise turn it around. He understands 3-step drop, break on the ball. We told you he was late a couple of times earlier in the game and didn't get his head around to find the football. He made the adjustment, and it's the 3rd pick 6 for Andy Dalton this season.
Dawson. 34-17 with 7:50 to play. And Brown playing in his 166th consecutive game today with a big pick.
Gonna be the slant, but he gets out in front. You come over the top, 3-step drop, break on it right now. And see him, he beats him to the point of intercept. He's able to get in front of Tate, and if you catch it, you're going to run a long way with it. He didn't have to go far to make it to the end zone. He locked in on him the whole way, which you have to do, Kevin. When you go 3-step drop, the quarterback has to go there right away. You really do. And you have to trust that your receiver, in this case, it was number 19, Brandon Tate. You've got to trust he's going to get in front of the defensive back. It is the receiver's job to protect the ball and don't allow Sheldon Brown to undercut or go over the top to beat him to the football. The wide receiver simply has to win, and Dalton simply has to cut it loose the moment he hits his back foot.
As the rain begins to pour down on the capacity crowd, people grabbing for their ponchos and anything that can cover them right now. The Browns defense, 9 interceptions, ties their total from all of last season. They're number 5 coming into today in interceptions in the NFL. Perman out of bounds at about the 2. Hit by Cribbs, brought down by Cribbs. 19-yard return. Now, the last time Cleveland won was back in week 11 of last year. Obenyai had a 1-yard touchdown run in the second, tied the game at 7. Cribbs had a touchdown. Fourth put the Browns ahead for good. 114-10. Colt McCoy was the quarterback. But they have since lost 11 consecutive games, tying a franchise record going back to 1975. Back then, Cleveland beat Cincinnati in Cleveland. Wouldn't it be something if they do the same thing today? 1st and 10. Dalton. And Gresham with the catch, maneuvers up near the 30-yard line, hit by a group of defenders, including screen, 9-yard pickup.
Well, you talk about them breaking an 11-game losing streak, even bigger, snapping a 12-game losing streak inside the tough AFC North division. Huge win if the Browns can hold on.
2nd down and 1. Whitworth with a block and buying time for Dalton, and that's caught by Green, who was shoved out of bounds by Joe Hayden. Gain of 10, 1st down, clock is stopped at 7:12.
Now let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals as you take a look at Dalton getting the ball outside to A.J. Green. 7 minutes to go in this ball game. The weather has turned for the worse. Starting to rain, starting to drizzle. If you're Dalton, you've got to get a touchdown on this possession.
Last game to the 39, and here's a catch and run by Cedric Perman out of UVA. He picks up 11 yards, and he's up at the 50-yard line. But Robertson there to make the stop.
Yeah, and as Marvin Lewis, take a look at the clock. He's examining, measuring, and weighing the situation. He knows that his offense can't make any more mistakes, Kevin. No more turnovers, no more wasted opportunities.
3 timeouts for Cincinnati. First down and 10. 5 defensive backs for the Browns. Young will be on a blitz, but forced outside. Here comes Parker. And here comes Billy Wynn. First sack of the day. Parker was there. Wynn was pressuring up the middle.
95 Parker provides the initial pressure, forcing Dalton to dance. Wynn comes in for the cleanup. They collapse the pocket on Andy Dalton. That's one way to close out a ball game on defense. Starts with your pass rush.
Loss of 5, back to the 45. Second down and 15 for Andy Dalton. Parker hit once, hit twice, and the avalanche comes. Robertson was there, Hayden was there. Loss of 2, back to the 43.
What I've noticed with this Cleveland Brown defense, especially here in the second half, Kevin, they're playing with speed. They're playing with tenacity. They're swarming. Joe Hayden, I think, has brought something to the defense. There's no doubt about it. He's a former top first-round pick. He's making plays on the back end. He had the big-time interception. He's swarming, and so is this defensive line.
5 defensive backs, 2 linebackers, 3rd and 17. They need the 40 going deep for Green. He's got the ball, and he beats Hayden. He's done it before, and he does it right there. A 57-yard touchdown pass by Dalton.
I got to tell you, Hayden, the conditioning, I think, is something that really has affected him. 4 weeks off due to the suspension. He's fighting with A.J. Green. He's trying to run. He can't catch up. Falls down as Green gets on top for the touchdown. And Hayden is bent over. He's sucking wind right now. When you've had 4 weeks off after coming out of training camp, you have to wonder now in the fourth quarter if his conditioning is a factor.
That's the 6th fourth-quarter touchdown pass by Dalton this season. That is an NFL high. Here comes Mike Nugent. He'll try to tack on another, which he does, and 5:21 to play in the fourth. The Bengals are alive, but down by 10, 34-24 here in Cleveland.
Well, we told you at the top that what A.J. Green is good at is getting on top of the defender. Once he gets around him, we call it stacking the defensive back. See, once he gets around him, he's going to stack and get on top of him. And now, see how he gets back inside? And Hayden can't close on the ball. See, once you get on top of him, now work your way back inside. And now Hayden can't catch up. And that's just a pro receiver making a pro play. Huge for this offense. Great throw from Dalton. Good protection. If you're going to get back into this game, that's how you do it.
Again, the Bengals with the 3 timeouts. The Browns have 1. Green, another monster day with 135 yards. 5th leading receiver in the NFL in terms of receiving yards. Only the 2nd time this year Cincinnati has converted a 3rd and 10 or longer. Comes at a good time for them, yet they're still down by 10 and a lot of football to play.
Yeah, you got to do an onside here. I mean, if you're Marvin Lewis, you understand it's a riverboat gambler, but you got to hope that it pays off. Feast or famine on the onside kick.
We've only had 1 successful onside kick in the entire NFL so far in this season. The ball teed up at the 35.
Well, first of all, you got to let it go 10 yards, but you've got to be there just in case it squirts free after a Cleveland Browns player touches the football.
And he'll bang it deep. Screen was back there. It races over his head into the 20-yard line, and a touchback as the rain continues to fall in a 10-point game, and Cleveland's getting it back. And coming up on the Subway postgame show, join GB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. All coming up on the Subway postgame show from our CBS studios in New York.
Maybe the weather was a factor for Marvin Lewis not attempting the onside kick. You're going to expect your defense to pitch a 3 and out right here, and if you're Cleveland, you run the football to kill the clock.
Obviously on 1st and 10. Wrap him up right there. Manny Lawson It is a gain of 5 for Hardesty. He's up to the 25-yard line for the Cleveland Browns.
Tick, 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 tick. 3 timeouts remaining for Cincinnati Bengals in this ball game. Only 1 for Cleveland.
Greco has been playing that guard. We've not heard that there was an injury to Laval, or Pinkston rather. And Pinkston has not been in for a while. So Greco, and he's played that position certainly before, but interesting they've made the move. 2nd down and 5. And Hardesty running through is perfect. And then Pecco steamrolls him, allowing a gain of 1. Timeout taken. Cincinnati will burn their first. And the clock at 4:29. The ball resting at the 26.
Trent Richardson out of the game. He's got a flank injury. That would be the rib area.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not of the flank steak variety, but in this case, it's a rib issue for Trent Richardson. So he's out of the game. Our Montario Hardesty is in it. As you can see, he's cloaked. Is Richardson. And Hardesty's done a good job coming in his stead. He's now the Browns' leading rusher in this ball game. 12 carries, 52 yards rushing. He's going to get even more. And that's what Pat Shurmur told us. We throw the ball early, ideally, and then if we get the lead, we want to run it to close out the game in the second half. Now, the Bengals know they want to run it. This is a 3rd down play with the weather being what it is. I don't know that you allow Whedon to attempt a throw here and risk a possible turnover.
Tight end is wide bottom of your screen. Marisek is the fullback. 3rd down and 4. Here comes Gathers. That's an incomplete pass. Also stops the clock. 4:25, and Cleveland's got a punt.
And that's why you want to keep running the ball. And I think Coach Shurmur is thinking that. Yeah, and obviously you want to try to pick up a 1st down, but I think you still have to run it in that situation. Because even if you don't pick up the 1st down, you're still bleeding the clock. And right now you're doing the Bengals a favor. You stop the clock for them, save them a timeout, and you're still punting the football.
Hodges has never had... Well, we were going to check that out. We thought maybe that he had not had one blocked. Here's a 4th and 4. And he'll have this one with a lot of congestion around that Tate will retrieve at the 28, and Screen can't bring him down. There's a block on Fort, and then tackled from behind for the Cleveland Browns on a 20-yard return by James Michael Johnson. And a Browns player is down.
And we've had ourselves one well of a ball game here in Cleveland, 34-24 with the Browns on top. But in this 4th quarter, we've seen Montario Hardesty go over the top, then a touchdown pass to Benjamin Watson. Dalton threw the pick 6, the Browns scores yet another touchdown for the Browns. But how about A.J. Green going up top, 57 yards and a touchdown? That pulls the Bengals to within 10 with 4 minutes to go here in the game.
Looking into the nickel, 1st down and 10. Great beginning field position at the 47-yard line for Dalton. Smith with the block at the right tackle. That is caught after a gain of 5. That's a grab by Marvin Jones. Very athletic player. Has been inactive most of the season. 2nd down and 5.
Have we seen enough to know that you don't leave anyone one-on-one with A.J. Green?
To the 48 of Cleveland. Now they get down to the 42 with a nice diving reception there by Andrew Hawkins and a pickup of 6 on the play.
Right now, Joe Hayden is one-on-one with him. The Browns run a lot of man-to-man coverage. But right now he's getting up and he's going to go press a little bit more, something he did not do on the 57-yard touchdown catch.
In the nickel, Dalton 1st and 10. Going underneath, finding Pierman. And brought down by DeQuell Jackson, but gets as far as about the 30-yard line. Picks up 12, another 1st down.
Great play by Pierman. He seemed to be determined to break tackles and hit that 1st down mark.
Remember, we told you that Cincinnati had 5 4th-quarter comebacks a season ago. Here's another 1st down. Smith holding him off, going deep, looking for Gresham. The coverage by Ward, and there is a flag. Flag is thrown at the 2.
This is going to be thrown in the middle of the field. Maybe it was whoever was in coverage against Hawkins. It wasn't near T.J. Ward, who was locked up against Gresham.
Cleveland penalized 4 times today, Cincinnati 7 times. Dalton has gone 26 of 38 for 319, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Amazing how it seems the momentum has shifted back to the Cincinnati Bengals here in the final portion of the fourth quarter, Kevin.
Well, there's a long discussion here, isn't there? Pete Morelli is wanting a little consensus. Is it against Cleveland?
12 players on the field on the defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Remember, that 12th player, even if he's running off the field, if he initially was in the huddle when they broke and then when the offensive line was at the line of scrimmage, he could run off. But if there's 12 guys initially, they're going to go ahead and penalize him for it.
2 timeouts left, 1st and 5 from the 26 of the Cleveland Browns for Dalton. Whitworth with the good block at the left tackle. He's got his receiver again. Young with the stop on Marvin Jones, a 17-yard strike. It's 1st and goal, Cincinnati.
Right now, no one is reacting for the Cleveland Browns in this zone defense. They're allowing the Bengals receivers to find room to catch the ball and settle in.
1st and goal. Dalton for Green. Caught but out of bounds. Working on Hayden. Incomplete. 2nd down and goal.
Oh, there's no pressure on Andy Dalton. The coverage on the back end is soft as they're playing more zone and less man. But look, good protection, and it's just throw and catch. Hayden's got to play the ball, not the man right there. You look back for it, now turn and make the play on the ball if you're Joe Hayden. That was very close. You see both feet are out of bounds for A.J. Green.
2nd and goal at the 9. Emmanuel Stevens with the hit, picked up by the big man, the rookie Billy Wynn, Pearman from behind, the big man lumbering downfield. What a turnover! All the way to the 41-yard line, a 36-yard fumble return, and a huge play for the Cleveland Browns.
Sometimes defense does have to win games. Watch Stevens come in from the blind side. 96 right there, the chop. Ball out, Win on the scoop and run. And they'll haul him in, he'll fumble, and the Cleveland Browns come up with a huge play when their team needed it. We told you the offense has made big plays here in the second half. We showed you the defense and Sheldon Brown on the pick 6. None bigger maybe than that play by Stevens and Wynn, the defensive line, getting pressure on Andy Dalton.
Brown's third red zone takeaway this year. Hardesty for a block there from Greco and a gain of 2 on the play, and brought down by a host of Cincinnati Bengals. Well, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS has doubleheader action as Ray Lewis and the Ravens face Matt Schaub and the undefeated Texans. And the Jets tangle with Tom Brady and the Patriots. Check local listings beginning with JB, Dan, Coach Bill Cowher, Shannon, and Boomer Esiason on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines.
What a play. And boy, the Cleveland Browns, I thought the conditioning factor was starting to settle in. The Bengals were moving down the field on that possession with great ease. We said there was no pressure on Andy Dalton. He was just dropping back, throwing it. The coverage was soft for the Cleveland Browns, and all of a sudden, Emmanuel Stevens, 96, steps up and makes a play for his football team.
Down an 8, and Hardesty will get a Marisek block, and also follows the block inside of his right tackle, the rookie, Mitchell Schwartz. Gain of 4 down to the 36-yard line, and another gang tackle there, and another timeout. And now Cincinnati has burned their final timeout.
They did a wonderful job protecting Andy Dalton pretty much all day. Already over 300 yards passing in today's game. Couple of interceptions, and then that third turnover. It was 3 turnovers that cost them dearly at home at Paul Brown Stadium 1 week ago against the Miami Dolphins. And now, yet again, their third turnover of the game is turning into big-time points and opportunities for the Cleveland Browns.
You mentioned third turnover. You know, they came in -4 today. And if there's one thing that you cannot do in this league, and we see it week in and week out, is turn the ball over. 3 today have come back to sting them. 1 turnover by the Browns. Hardesty trying to run outside. Pecco whips him down. 39-yard line or so, and probably a loss of 2 when they get everything spotted. They're going to hit the 2-minute warning. Cincinnati out of timeouts. Cleveland has 1. Browns with a furious second half comeback and trying to stop an 11-game losing streak dating back to last year. Two-minute warning, 4th and 6, and Cleveland is going to get in a kneel down with a punt coming up on the 4th and 6. Hodges will kick it to Tate. Kicking it on the nose of the ball, trying to get some backspin, and does beautifully to the 5. Hodges places one in there, 33-yard, well-placed punt by Reggie. So Marvin Lewis and his Bengals with no timeouts and trailing by 10. This is kind of an interesting situation for this Cleveland franchise. The incoming owner is Jimmy Haslam. The owners are going to vote this Tuesday to approve the purchase of the team from Randy Lerner, who is the son of the founder of this organization, Al Lerner, who passed away during the 2003 season. The record under him, 47 and 103. On the 5, 1st and 10 for Dalton. Going outside. Andy Hawkins. Hit on the play by all kinds of defenders, including Hayden, who's up in his face. An 11-yard pickup on the play. They spot the ball at the 16.
Look at the Browns saying, hey, keep your cool. And just, I think it's a valiant effort. We've seen this team grow up a little bit today, don't you think, Kevin?
Sure.
The youngest team in the National Football League are the Cleveland Browns after a devastating loss last week to the Giants.
Dalton underneath, and Pierman falls at the 22. And Robertson was right there. That was a 6-yard pickup. Clock continues to go, and again, the Bengals cannot stop it. 2nd down and 4.
Tale of 2 halves. We said in the first half that Andy Dalton played flawlessly. 13 of 18 in the first half, but he's turned the ball over 3 times here in the second half of this game.
Well, the Pierman again. Big hit by DeQuell Jackson. Tackle was made on the play by Screen. 15-yard pickup. They continue to move up, stopping an 11-game losing streak, which tied the longest in the history of the Browns franchise. As Dalton again goes underneath the Pierman. And it dated back to 1975. He's up to the 50 and hit by Screen again. It dated back to 1975. And in that game, back then when they had lost 11 straight, Cleveland beat the visiting Cincinnati Bengals at Old Municipal Stadium.
And this is a major win, I think, for Pat Shurmur and the Cleveland Browns. Not only winning the Battle of Ohio, but I consider the Cincinnati Bengals to be a really good football team with a really good defense. They came in here tied for first in the NFL with the most sacks with the Chicago Bears. 18 sacks in their first 5 games. And what do? They protect their quarterback, Brandon Weeden. He is a rookie, turning 29 years old today, and he plays well enough to get the win and just racking up points in the second half.
2nd down and 10 for Dalton. Airing one out, looking for Green, and going against Osama Young, and it's picked off by Young in the end zone. And that is all she wrote. Cleveland has won. They had lost. The Browns had 4 consecutive games to the Bengals, 7 of the last 8. And earlier this season, the Bengals had beaten Cleveland 34-27. So a big win.
How about Brandon Weeden? We begin this second half. Incompletion on his first 6 pass attempts to begin the second half. All he's done now is completed 8 of his last 9 pass attempts, found his rhythm. You ask if he was ready to go out and win a game, I think he answered his coach with his performance today.
Down he goes, clock will run, and that is it. Nice win for second-year head coach Pat Shurmur. Big second half. And a 10-point Browns win, 34-24. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Coming up, it's the Subway postgame show. We'll take you to New York for all the scores and highlights right after this message.